Greatest ever done it. You can learn from it. Dope game ran it. Rap game run it. Street cred hunted. Nerd turned D-boy, not in genetic makeup. Baby, I'm a G-boy. Hashtag street boy. Wrong one to fuck with. Cross me at your own risk. Play to get back. You can trust this. I am far from average. To me, it ain't no such thing. Me against the world, so fuck it, I let my nuts hang. I've been known to bust bang. Kill it if the need be. I don't need an army when the smoke clears, he sees me. Rhyming at his finest. Unlike those vaginas that claim that they the real deal, knowing I'm the highest. Top of the command chain. I am what the streets made. I am what the hood built. You are just a weak lame. Homicidal maniac with suicidal tendencies. You're more like a punk band. I'm more like a pedigree of nigga you ain't seen yet. So y'all cannot describe me. I'm a freak of nature. Don't shit here surprise me. Money over everything except the nigga's manhood. I am not a prostitute. You don't understand hood. Fuck a nigga getting his unless he about to give me mine. Otherwise he prime beat. Shocking when I up the 9 and hit it with it 7 times. Fuck you thought I'm civilized? Welcome to the jungle, fool. It's only right I punish you. Nigga with an attitude. Feel like MC Ren felt. Quiet on the set, you funky bitch, you get your friends slipped. I give your game a black eye. Blame it on the black guy. I be on some nigga shit, I'm niggerish, so that's why. Guess what my religion is? This is what the business is. Exposure for you garbage ass rappers. You can witness this. Came to bang your game up. Pussies think they came up. Oh, you got a drop head? So now you think you famous? I hear it's dangerous if we don't know your name, cuz we don't even give a fuck. Rappers get it fucked up. Security say you nah, this they side job. They don't want no conflict, they don't want no problems, nah.
Salute, and welcome. Welcome back to the Black Ocean. Now, so we're getting deep in with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. And yes, you saw the thumbnail and the title. Today, we're going to be reviewing, in fairness, one of the most recent streams of the Angryman. Okay, so now, in case you just happen to not know who he is, okay, let's give you a bit of background. Angryman is one of the three founding fathers of the Black Manosphere. It would be him, Obsidian, Mumia Ali, and O'Shea Duke Jackson, even though he says he's no longer affiliated with them. But yes, he's been around the space for a long time. You've seen me review his content on my channel before, and I'm going to be giving a critique of one of his latest streams. I'm going to be doing it in fairness. Now, go ahead and tell you off the rip what the majority of this is not going to be focused on. I'm aware of all the things that a lot of people say about him. Okay. A lot of people say that he could be Puerto Rican and Cuban. Strong possibility of that. Yes, he's shown pictures of his parents, but those were faded pictures. Okay. A lot of the issues that he has with a lot of people, sometimes his own crew or whatever, he tends to think that people pick on him because he's light skinned. I tend to think that's really not the issue. Yes, he does a lot of cooning. If you don't understand who his audience mostly is, it will be non-FBAs, okay, a lot of Tilda class, a lot of the FBA coon class, and a lot of anti-black racist white people. Basically trying to do what Tommy Sotomayor did in the start of his career with a lot of his stuff. He tends to lean to the political right, okay? And everybody over here knows that I'm neither liberal nor conservative, okay? So I just want to get that out of the way at the beginning. But we're going to be critiquing some of his latest viewpoints on one of his streams, okay? So just letting you know, it's not going to be a bunch of ad hominems or whatever. We're going to critique what he said, and it's going to be some things he gets right. And it's going to be some things he gets wrong. See, I'm mature enough to give people credit when they do get something right, but call out the cooning when I see it too, okay? And since he likes to focus on issues in the black community because he swears up and down that he is a black person. I mean, he could be half FBA at best, but if you take a look at the guy's appearance, I mean, come on, man. So that's neither here nor there tonight, though. So I just want to give you a bit of reference before we get into tonight's broadcast. With that said, let me scroll up and greet those of you that I see join us here. Let me pull up the chat. I see Kid Gravity Beyond. Welcome, good brother. Diesel Mike. I see AB in the building. Only Pamela's Way. Stardust Spirit of the Most High. I see a Goddess Navi. Let's see. Shikiri, Carlin, 2 stars. I see Opal Ivy. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Hold on. Let me make sure I got this pulled up. Okay. I see Quincy X in the building as well. Salute to you and everybody will be joining us here tonight. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And like I said, welcome to everybody. I'll be stopping, looking at the chat periodically. Yes, I do monitor mine over here, but it's a lot of social issues he's going to bring up in this latest streamer here. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to critique what he gets right, and we're going to critique what he gets wrong. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. I think we'll learn a lot from it. With that said, let's get started.
You saw Kadarius Pride, a.k.a. Superstar Pride, the man charged with Wheatley's death, enter the mobile home, heard loud voices, and saw an armed Pride chase her grandson out of the mobile home.
And the young man was following him, shooting at him, and he finally shot him down.
Strong ran to this field, and she watched in horror as Pride continued to fire at her grandson.
He fell here. He shot about 3 times. After he fell, and he walked over to me, and he pointed the gun at me and asked me if I was going to tell it.
She says she had no idea what Pride meant, but she says he wasn't finished.
And he came back out here and fired a last shot in his head.
She says Pride left in his red pickup truck, later found abandoned in Pope, Mississippi. He later turned himself in to the Panola County Sheriff's Office. Pride's father could offer no reason for what his son allegedly did.
It's still just something that's got to be looked into, and to see what all transpired. As of now, it's just so early.
But Marianne Strong believes the shooting resulted from Wheatley's refusal to take part in one of Pride's music videos in California.
He wanted Marcus to follow him, and Marcus couldn't do it. He couldn't help him make more money.
In Panola County, Mike Suriani, WREG News Channel 3.
Hard thing for a grandmother to witness. In the meantime, Kadarius Pride is being held without bond.
So, this is what I had to say about it early this morning because I dropped a YouTube short about it. And this is what I had to say about it.
Pride's father could offer no reason for what his son allegedly did.
You know, it's still just something that's got to be looked into and to see what, you know, what all transpired. You know, as of now, it's just so early.
When I'm quiet, I be thinking about killings. A lot of nigga bitch may stay in their feelings. Saving these hoes, this shit pitiful. All these little bitty bitches my chillings. And mama, don't worry, you raised a gangster. I'm a survivor.
Sound like to me, you asking the wrong person why he did what he did. Maybe you should ask his mama.
I'm just keeping it real. You going over there asking his father why he did what he did, right? But you should be asking his mama why he did what he did. Because what did he say in the song? He said, when I'm quiet, I'm thinking about killing. And mama, don't worry, you raised the gangster. I'm a survivor. What I've been telling y'all, man? What have I been telling y'all?
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and interject here with my first critique. If the boy was living with his mother, yes, they should definitely find out what was going on in that household, okay? In case those of you didn't hear about the Kadarius Pride story that was in the intro here to his stream. But his father, and it's going to go on in his stream here, was in his life. So you question both parents, okay? You question both parents. You definitely want to know because, see, let's clear something up, right? When you have children, all right, no matter which way the situation go, if you are able to be in your child's life, you're supposed to have a hand in raising them. So they weren't all based by asking the father about that. But I want y'all to listen to a lot of the viewpoints he's about to express here, because a lot of times in the black manosphere spaces, they lump everybody that they consider pro-black in as the pro-blacks, as if it's a group you can join. Pro-black is an ideology, not a group that you join, okay? But we're going to clear up a lot of misconceptions that he makes. And then, again, like I said, I'm going to be fair. This ain't going to be an ad hominem field stream. I'm just going to correct what he gets wrong and clear up a couple of things. Because, see, one of the things about when you start cooning, okay, and he says he's black, okay, we're going to air quotes on that. One of the things about when you start cooning, you address what your people do wrong, what our people do wrong, okay? But at the same time, you don't blanket statement everybody in the damn community. You don't do that, okay? So I'm going to let him talk, and then we're going to critique the couple of statements that he's about to make. Let's let it continue.
You got one group of people to blame for these young Negroes out here wilding out, doing this goofy shit. And I ain't even got to say it. I ain't even got to say it. You know I don't got to say it. Now, here's the question I got to ask. Well, no, it's not a question. It's more of a statement. It's more of a statement. Because this is what really disturbs me. And this is what really bothers me. So if you listen to the news report, he went into this dude's crib. They obviously knew each other. They get into an argument. He chases the dude out the back door. The grandmother sees it. She's watching as this dude is running behind her grandson, shooting at him, right? Finally hit him. And he's shooting him. The grandmother runs over there. He then turns and points the gun at the grandmother. I'm going to say that again. He then turns and points the gun at the grandmother. Now, I'm going to keep it all the way funky with you. I think they should fry his ass for that alone.
There's the first point that I agree with them on, because those of us that are on code in our community, we don't condone that type of crime, okay? That's one thing that a lot of them in that space get wrong. They think that anybody who's pro-black, that you make excuses for crime and, the big topic over there in those manifest spaces, what the women do. Nah, over here, we call everything down the middle and we address things without sugarcoating, especially on my platform. But I do agree, if you out here in the community victimizing it, male, female, or whatever, okay? Y'all already know, I covered this on a previous stream. I don't call people that harm our community brothers or sisters, queens, kings, none of that. I don't do no sugarcoating. The greater majority of us don't, okay? So I agree. You should be punished in the most harsh of terms for the crime that he committed there. I'm going to let him continue making further statements here before I get to the rest of my critique.
It's my personal opinion. I don't care what nobody say. You feel me? These new Negroes, they ain't got no code. They don't live by no type of code. So he points the blicky at the grandmother and said, are you going to tell it? And then he walks back over and shoots the dude one more time in the dome. Let me tell you something. This ain't the first time he done popped somebody. I can tell you that right now. This ain't the first time he done popped somebody. You know how raggedy you gotta be to shoot a man unarmed in front of his grandmama? Do you have any earthly idea how messed up you gotta be to shoot an unarmed man, shoot him down like a dog in front of his grandmother? I'm gonna tell you something right now. You new niggas is lucky, because if you'd have did that in front of my grandmother or my great grandmother, soon as she knew you had a gun, she'd have went and got that Mossberg and came out there, and soon as you did what you did, you would have turned around and been staring down the barrel of a Mossberg.
That part that he said down here in the South, that is very true. Oh yes, my grandmothers on both sides of my family, yes, they was toting something for your ass if you got wrong. Okay, I mean, it's like it was rare that they ever had to go to that, but he got that part right. Let him continue.
Boom, you'd been gone, bruh. You'd have been gone, straight up and down. This is ridiculous, bruh. But then when I get up here on YouTube to talk about this type of stuff, I'm wrong. Y'all notice that? Nobody is supposed to talk about any of this foolishness. Nobody's supposed to point this foolishness out. But like I said before, this is the result. This is the result. Now, they went and interviewed his pops. Why didn't they interview his mom? And even better yet, if they interviewed his pops, that means his pops was in his life. So why is this rapper rapping like his pops ain't in his life? And mama, don't worry. You raised a gangster. I'm a survivor. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm going to pull up the lyrics.
Now, before he pulls up the lyrics, let me make a statement here, because, see, that's a horrible crime that happened. And again, I agree with Angryman there. They should throw the book at his ass. He should be fried. I agree 100%. But now, when you saw that clip where he showed the guy, okay, Kadarius Pride, the rapper, you could tell by the way the boy look and the way he sound that it could be a combination of drugs, but you could tell the boy was barely literate, okay? So now, if his mother had custody of him and his father was still in his life, if I'm his father, if I go visit my child and I see that that's how he's turning out, we finna have a hell of a custody battle. Let me tell you something, man. You become a father, that's the most important job you'll have in this world. When you become a black parent, period, okay? If you see your child turning out like that, you're supposed to intervene before he get down this path, okay? Because see, for him to end up doing what he was doing, I'm wondering how much time did his father actually have time to spend with him. Now, we don't know the situation. We don't know if him and his father and his mother split and there was some type of complications. We don't know. But either way, you're supposed to go out your way to try to stay in your child's life to make sure they don't turn out like that. Let's let Angryman continue.
Pull up the lyrics, right? I want you to hear the lyrics he was saying in this song that caught fire. Watch this. He said, 2 a.m., the night's still young. You live by the gun, you're going to die by the gun. And ain't no handouts from nobody. When I ain't had shit, they ain't offer me nothing. When I'm quiet, I'm thinking about killings. A lot of niggas be made stay in they feelings. Saving these 304s, this shit here pitiful. All these little bitty bees, my cheering.
Now let me interject again. See, family, one of the things about that type of music, there's nothing wrong with one to grow up and be a musician, or artist, rapper, what have you. But we're going to have to change the frequency of that kind of stuff. And see, again, his father was involved in his life. He should have known what was going on with his kid. That is your business. You have a seed. It is your business to know what's going on with your child, whether they're under your roof or not, okay? It's your business. And salute to the good brother Tony Rain for what I understand. I don't think he is mentioning Jason Aldean yet. You know that coon ain't gonna do that. He'll probably applaud the song knowing him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already getting a string together to applaud it. We already know how he get down, brother. But going back to this situation right here, it's a tragic situation, but I want y'all to hear the rest of the statements that he's about to make. I'm going to let him get back into the lyrics of the song, then we're going to come back to it.
Oh, and mama, don't worry. You raised a gangster. I'm a survivor. It hurt me not being able to give you what you want since I was a toddler. Why would he need to give her what the fuck she want? Why would he feel obligated to give her anything since he was a toddler? Y'all see this bullshit? He obviously had a father because they was able to find the nigga to interview him. They should fry his ass. They should fry his ass. You see, this is the type of crap that these young Negroes think they supposed to do. Hey, guess what, everybody? Guess what, everybody? Guess what? Guess what? In this day and age, rappers are doing two things. They're either getting gunned down or they're gunning somebody else down.
Okay, that's a true statement he made. But what a lot of times the guys in those spaces leave out when they mention that, yes, that's exactly what's happening. No doubt about it. Who runs the record labels that promote it? Not black folks. See, this is where white supremacy comes in. Oh, and see, when you say white supremacy, they start mocking that. But intelligently, we have to break it down this way. The rappers make the negative music. We got that part. We're gonna slow roll this thing, common sense wise. The record labels, majority white owned, sign them. The distribution companies, white owned. The marketing, budget departments, the radio stations, all of that is white controlled. So I'm not absolving our community for the negative parts that they play in harming us with that type of music, but you can't leave out who's facilitating it. That's the part that people like Angryman don't bring into play because he don't think that's important. Now, let me say something. I disagree with a lot of things he says, political stances, views on race, big coon on that, but he's not a dumb man. He's very well read and he's intelligent. And see, a lot of times when you look at him and guys like Anthony Brown Logan, oh, if you think Angryman bad, oh, you ain't seen nothing if you hadn't seen Anthony Brown Logan. A lot of times those guys, they know exactly what they're saying because he knows that. He knows exactly who's controlling that system. Again, it doesn't absolve the person that's making those decisions to make that music a free will. But if they want to stop it overnight, they could. They could, because let's be honest, the greater majority of black people do not own record labels like that where white folks say, hey, listen, you can't even put out this kind of music no more. They could stop it. But see, Angryman isn't going to point out the part that the corporations and the record labels promote that because black dysfunction is profitable, okay? Serves a couple of purposes. Promote the music to especially kids that don't have two parents or a stable parent to raise them the right way in an impoverished environment. And hey, if you don't get killed, you'll serve to fill up our industrial prison complex system. See, he don't want to talk about them things. See, my thing is, call it out, yes, but call out the whole issue. And you intelligent enough to do that, Angryman. You know you are, okay? We're going to be fine to critique over here. Like I said, it ain't going to be no ad hominems. I'm just going to make it make sense tonight. Let's let him continue.
Princess Kami said, AM, he's so young. Why he throw his little life out? Because he didn't have one in the first place. He didn't have a life in the first place. He didn't have no life in the first place. Listen to this shit right here. We're going to read some more of these lyrics. Shout out to my pops for all the free game. So right there, you know his father was in his life. But yet and still he said, and mama, don't worry, you raised a gangster. I'm a survivor. It hurt me not being able to give you what you want since I was a toddler. Shout out to my pops for all the free game. Everything you ever told me, it's stuck in my brain. Real OG status, shedding light to make a change. Shedded tears within this in so much pain. All the shiesty shit that I've done, blessed to not be in no chains. Uncle kept with me when I was young. Mama blessed the boy with the cocaine. Mama blessed the boy with the cocaine. Growing up, I ain't have a daddy. My mama played both roles. Been hard on a nigga since I came out the womb, yeah, the you-know-what hole. I ain't had no daddy. If he just said a couple of bars prior, Shout out to my pops for all the free game. Everything you ever told me, it's stuck in my brain. Real OG status, shedding light to make a change. See, I'm going to tell you what the problem is. The problem is you new young niggas, you don't listen to lyrics. That's the problem. That's the problem. You new niggas have selective hearing. You only hear the parts you want to hear. And that's why you're influenced in such a negative way.
Now, let's bring up whose job it is to monitor what influences the children. Starts with a P and ends with an S. Parents. It is a well-known fact that your brain is not fully developed until we reach 25 years of age, okay? Well-known fact. Angryman, you should know that. Now, as I said before, with the trajectory that this child was going, if his father was there like he was supposed to be, he would have caught that. Because see, listen, let me tell you something, fellas. I get it. It's hard out here, and there's no such thing as a fairy tale ending. Sometimes things don't work out with your wife or your baby mama, whichever way it's going to go. But you cannot abandon your children, especially if you got a black son out here, okay? You can't do it because, see, this is what they end up growing up to become. Because let's be clear on something. Sadly, one of the things that disappoints me most, again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be rapper, artist, okay, athlete, or whatever, but that's usually only one or two things that children want to be in our community. Primarily, we have to encourage them and teach them that you can do more than just this, okay? Being a rapper or being in a sports league. There should be more aspirations than that. So that's something that we definitely have to work on in our community. And a lot of black parents are doing that. But see, today, these influences, I don't care whether it's online, offline, or whatever, as a black parent, it is your job to know what's affecting and influencing your children, okay? So I wish he would have brought that part up, but hey, he's got more to tell us. So let him get back to it.
You don't hear the whole song. You don't hear all of the lyrics. You don't hear the concept. You don't hear any of that. Because if you really listen to this song, this nigga's a whole hypocrite. And he's snitching on himself. And he's snitching on himself. He said, all the shiesty shit that I've done, blessed not to be in chains. Well, that didn't age well. Because you definitely about to be in chains now. You definitely in chains now. Your ass is locked up, no bond, and there's an eyewitness. Do you really think that that boy grandmother is not going to sit on that stand and point at your ass? He's done. You're done, son. You're done. She was, look, check this out. I don't know why you put that gun on her thinking you was going to scare her. Because she had no problem sitting right there on the news, on the 6 o'clock news, and telling everybody what you did. Where's my homeboy is at? Where's my homeboy is at? Where is at? Hey, is the grandmother of this situation told the news everything that happened in an ongoing investigation.
To provide you a bit of context on what Angryman is talking about here, him and one of his partners over there, a guy named Israel, okay, one of his right-hand men, they did coverage of the Carly Russell situation, and they was having a back and forth about what happens during the investigation process. So that's what he's referencing. But to Israel's credit, I will give him this. When he see Angryman going off script on certain things, he does try to correct him. Okay, now in the issue that he's addressing here with Israel, I saw a portion of that. Angryman was right on that, but there's been other things that he wasn't right on. For example, right, Angryman was arguing with Israel on a stream of his, and he said they were talking about Ja Morant, okay, the NBA ball player. And Angryman actually thinks that he has more influence than Ja Morant. I don't care if it's offline or online. Come on now. But that's what he thinks. And look, I'm not knocking that. I mean, hey, he got that kind of confidence about himself, but reality will prove different. But hey, I just want to give you a little bit of context on that. That's neither here nor there. We're going to stick to analyzing what he's talking about here tonight. So with that said, I'm going to let him get back into it. Salute to the brother Quincy X for the cash up also. Thank you very much, my brother.
Ain't that what she did? Ain't that what she did? Ain't that what she did? I'm just saying, she told it all. She told it all off the rip. I'm telling. You gonna shoot her grandson down in front of her? You think she ain't gonna tell it? You think she ain't gonna tell it? You think she ain't gonna tell it? Oh no, she telling. She telling. Grandma went straight to the news, and guess what? She gonna be in court in her Sunday best. She gonna be in court in her Sunday best. And you know what she gonna do? She gonna tell on him. Yep, I seen him when he did it. He put the gun on me, and look, cause he not just gonna get that charge. You feel what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. But think about where we're at as a society. Think about where we're at as a society, as a culture, when this is becoming the norm. This is becoming the norm. This is becoming the norm. Like, this is some sad shit. This is some sad shit. This dude got a song that went viral, and instead of him focusing on his craft, instead of him focusing on his music, instead of him focusing on his music so that he can actually continue to be successful, oh no, he want to run around here. He want to run around here pretending like he a gangster. Yeah, and I said pretending. I said pretending. Because I'm going to tell you some real shit. Going up in a dude's crib that you cool with, that you trying to do business with, and because he don't want to do business with you, you shoot him in front of his grandma and then get locked up right after. You not no gangster. You a petty ass criminal.
I agree 100% with him right there. Nothing about that is manly or masculine at all. And that speaks to the situation. Gotta call it what it is. The boy's father must not have spent much time in his life because, like, he was around, he knows his father, but as far as raising him, it's what I'm saying. And gentle reminder, family, yes, over here, in case you're new here, I understand, we got some new folks. We don't type in all caps over here. That's reserved for me, the host, in case I need to bring something to the audience attention, like an article or a link or what have you. So just keep that in mind. Moderators, give a gentle reminder to those joining us that, yeah, this isn't an all cap channel, so kindly turn your all caps off. But going back to the point here, his father couldn't have spent a hand in raising him because, see, let's go here, right? Let's hypothetical, but it's plausible that this is the way it went. When this boy started having certain issues because he wasn't rapping like that and just been a model child or what have you, he had to be getting all kinds of trouble. If his mother was a decent mother, she would have called his father and he would have came there to get that boy straightened out. And see, this is why a lot of brothers, we try to discourage that single mother situation that a lot of the dominant society gets a lot out of promoting that dysfunction in our community. Because once a boy gets a certain age, you really can't do nothing with him by yourself as a woman by yourself. Okay? There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, that boy get a certain age, y'all done went y'all separate ways, you need to send him with his father. Okay? That's the ideal thing to do. Send him with his father so he can finish his manhood training and make sure he's not out here doing what this guy did. But I'm going to let him get back to espousing his viewpoints here because, like I said, I'm going to give him credit for the stuff that he gets right. It's just when he gets into the stuff that's going to go way out in the deep end, I'm going to have to go ahead and break that down. But let's get back to it.
That's what you are. You're a petty criminal, a scourge to the black community. That's what the hell you are. You ain't no damn gangster. You ain't no damn gangster. Because guess what? If you was a gangster, you would be part of an organized crime syndicate. And guess what? Guess what, nigga? There would be nowhere for you to be safe. Whatever criminal organization you would be a part of, they would get your ass for doing that in front of his grandmother. Somebody tell me I'm lying. Somebody tell me I'm lying. If he was part of the mafia and they found out he did that to him in front of his grandmother, I can see it now. He did it in front of his grandmother, for God's sake. You can't do stuff like that in front of people that are civilians. You know what I'm saying? That nigga ain't no gangster. And all you little Negroes running around here talking about you gangsters and shit, you're not gangsters. And the reason why you're not gangsters is because you don't have no code. You don't have no code. That was the reason why organized crime was so difficult to prosecute, because they had a code that they lived by. See, in the mob, you wouldn't have no grandmother sitting up on the news talking about what she's seen, because she would have never seen it. She would have never seen it. Women and children would never see it. You feel me? Yeah, he'd be in trouble in jail right now. See, exactly. The key word is organized crime. This is not organized crime. This is just a crime. This is a crime. I'm not even going to call this a crime of passion. I'm going to call it a crime of stupidity. He just threw his whole life away for nothing. And again, here we go. Here we are yet again with the same scenario playing out. One Negro going in the ground and another Negro going into prison. Like, how long? That's my question. How long is we going to do this goofiness? How long are we going to do this goofiness?
Okay, so here's the deal. Y'all already know where I'm going with this. But those like him in those spaces, and we got a lot of people that are not in those spaces, the French speak. You know what I'm talking about when I say the French speak. It ain't we doing that. That is a small section of our society in Black America. It ain't no we. Then, okay, as far as I know, Kadarius Pride, I think he's LBA, but here lately we got to factor in something else. What lineage was that person from? Because a lot of times as foundational Black Americans, we get other people's trash dumped onto us, and that's something we are not going to allow anymore. Okay? So that's the reason why the we talk. No, stop that. Because see, let me tell you something. I'm not saying Angryman, but I know several other people that don't have a track record of cooning and stuff, okay, that will use that we language. You got to break out of that. Start being specific, because the average black man and black woman get up, go to work every day, ain't out here committing no crimes, okay? The average young person, all right? Talk about the specific segment of the society. That's the issue that I have when people start that we blanket statement talk. Cut the French, speak out. But for the most part, so far, I agree with what he's saying. Let's let him continue.
Y'all ain't shit, bruh. Hold on, let me highlight this message. Jonathan said, "Hey, you don't understand, bro. His mama raised him to be a gangster." And mama, don't worry, you raised a gangster. I'm a survivor. Well, we know that you believe that first part. We gonna find out about that second part. You done somewhat proved the first part. Mama raised a gangster. But now we got to see if you a survivor. Because guess what? When your ass get locked up, check this out. Here's the interesting thing about prison, right? See, when you out and about in the real world, free, and you have the type of mindset that you willing to do anything to anybody, see, that dude wasn't expecting you to pull out your gun and shoot him. That's why he was off guard. That's why you was able to do it. Because nobody's really ever expecting somebody to just run down on them and shoot them. Because out here in the real world, we live in a civilized world. And most of the people, they don't operate like that and they don't think like that, right? But here's the thing. You want to be Billy Badass and run around here like it's the Wild West. Guess what? Where you're getting ready to go, it's full of nothing but Negroes like you. See, where you're getting ready to go, it's filled with nothing but Negroes like you, and ain't no guns in there.
He's absolutely correct. And see, let me take the time to point out a rule of thumb that I have always operated by, okay? Especially as a man. Anytime there's a heated argument or heated discussion, engagement or whatever between two men, or anybody for that matter, but especially two men, I don't underestimate what you might do. I have a rule: don't get within my 3 feet of personal space. You can say whatever you want from a distance. I'm telling you now, young man, don't be careful about that. First and foremost, as a grown person, it's better to try to avoid getting into certain types of arguments. Okay, if it depends upon you, okay? Everything ain't worth arguing over with somebody, especially to the point where there's a heated exchange, because as men, we know that's going to end with some bloodshed or somebody dying. I just want to throw that part in there. That's a caution for you, okay? Be careful about situations like that. Let me further add on this. Be careful about going places where you know things like that are prone to happen, okay? You got to use some foresight out here. Be careful about going places where things are prone to happen. And I got to add this to it too. Be careful about keeping people in your circle that like to instigate things between people, okay? This situation with Kadarius Pride was neither, but I'm just pointing out some things that'll help you and it'll go well with you in life, because you got a lot of people out here, they like to instigate shit and then watch car crash happen and stand back. Ain't no consequence for them. Got to be wise when you're moving out here. But see, with Kadarius Pride situation, man, the dude should have just said, hey, man, no, I'm not doing that or whatever. Hey, end of discussion. It wouldn't have been no come outside, let me holler at you, none of that. Because see, if I am coming out and you've approached me in a disrespectful manner, just know that Second Amendment right is going to get practiced, okay? I'm always at the ready. Always at the ready. I just wanted to take the time to point that part out. Let's let Angryman get back to it.
Ain't no guns in there, and I guarantee you, there is countless Negroes where you going that's worse than you. Oh, and by the way, you getting locked up in Mississippi. he getting locked up in Mississippi. In Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken. Either Texas or Mississippi. And you know what they do to Negroes? They get locked up in either Texas or Mississippi. Press 1 if y'all want to know what they do to Negroes that go to prison in Texas or Mississippi. Press 1 if you want to know what you got to do in Texas or Mississippi. Press 1. They make your ass pick cotton. They make you pick cotton. I'm going to say it again. They make you pick cotton. The fuck is going on with my shit?
Tell them about the gun line, boss.
Matter of fact, I came across something. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I came across something about Texas, right? Here we go right here. Here we go right here. Check this out.
I did not know slavery exists until I went to prison. See, I can speak about slavery, right? Because I've been a slave. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery unless you've been convicted of a crime. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I catch you.
I'm inventory at the age of 17, a slave for the state of Texas to serve 8 years of servitude in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Now, why you say slave? Because some people think that, hey, once you're there, you just get a bunk bed, you get a book, and you get to just sit there in boring silence.
Now, this is what people don't realize about slavery, right? This is what people don't realize about slavery. Once you come to America, America had a new form of slavery, antebellum slavery, right? Or chattel slavery. What's the difference? The difference with slavery here in America that was different than slavery everywhere else is here in America, they were breeding slaves, which means you're born a slave, you die a slave. That's what separated it, that and the brutality of it. But prior to that, you know what slavery was? It was indentured servitude. In other words, when you got locked up for a crime, they would send you somewhere to basically do community service, but not community service. They would make you somebody's indentured servant, and you would have to work for free for a certain amount of time. And after that time was up, then you got your freedom back.
Now, let's go ahead and be crystal clear on something. I don't think he meant it this way, but let's be clear on something. There have never been a time in America that foundational Black American freedmen have been indentured servants. We were not indentured servants at any point in time. As far as it pertains to us with slavery, it was always chattel slavery, not indentured servitude. Now, I don't think he meant it to come off like that, but I want to make sure I make that clear on my channel, okay? I want to make sure we're clear on this. Let him continue.
Right? So, if you really want to be honest, a lot of the prisons we have here in America are akin to indentured servitude. Because guess what? Back in the day, if you was an indentured servant, they'd give you somewhere to sleep. They'll feed you. They'll do all of that, right? Now, the only thing that separates America from these other places is while you're an indentured servant, in America, they can end you if they want to.
For the rest of the days.
You asked me why I said slavery?
Let's go.
Have you ever seen a nigga pick cotton?
Nah.
Where have you seen a nigga pick cotton at?
Never in my life.
A slave, though.
Oh, slave. Yeah.
Nigga, I was sent to pick cotton. That's why I said.
Oh, so you? So wait. So
I was sent to say. All right, I ain't never seen nothing but a slave pick cotton.
Wait. So you have actually picked cotton off the cotton plant?
I have picked cotton off the cotton plant. Texas Department of Criminal Justice. You pick cotton off the cotton plant.
I remember.
I go out here to the fields, and this is something me and you would never think exists. Right around the corner here is plantations of nothing but cotton. The South Empire was built on cotton, and they hadn't changed it in the 90s. We was here to pick it. And look, when I got to the field, I'm like, I'm not picking that shit, nigga. I'm not no motherfucking slave. Y'all got, they drew their guns. You ask what happened. You say what happened, right? Oh, they trained for niggas. Oh, you one of them niggas. You think you ain't gonna pick, huh?
Yeah.
You think you Kunta, Toby? Roll right up me on them guns, told me to get down on my hands and knees or they gonna shoot me. That's what I'm telling you. They got, you are a slave. They have the right to kill you if you pose a threat to leave in this structure. No, damn. This is jail.
So
I am a slave. If I run, they shoot me in the back.
How many times you thought of running?
None. Well, what you mean?
So at any point did you feel like, man, if we all get in this together, we can overtake this shit?
That shit sound good,
right,
bro. That shit sound good, and I'm gonna get to that, right? So
I'm actually glad Angryman put this part in because, see, this is something that a lot of these little soft dudes out here that commit the crimes like Kadarius Pride did, Kadarius, whatever his name is, they think they're hard until it's time to face a consequence. They're not built like that. And see, a lot of them don't hear this brother here that's talking on the right-hand side of the screen here. Former inmate, he's telling you, look, you're going to be out here picking cotton and all manner of other type of work. Okay, they're going to have you out there doing ditch detail, all types of things, okay? Not getting paid because, as we know, 13th Amendment slavery is still legal, okay? If you go to the American prison industrial complex system, okay? And see, a lot of these little dudes that's running around out here with this goofy stuff, they have this fantasy idea in their head about all the stuff they're going to do and get away with, but nobody ever says, okay, well, what happens if you get caught? Especially today, we got to keep it a buck. With a lot of them, I got to go here with it. A lot of them, man, they built like little old tree limbs, man. Just no weight on them whatsoever. Man, listen, depending on what you go in for, or even if you don't go in anything for anything egregious like this crime that Kadarius Pride pulled off, or harming a child or a woman or anything, just being that small, oh, you gonna get it, buddy. Somebody gonna try you, and you gonna find out just how hard you're not. So I'm glad he did put this part in here. I want young people to pay close attention to these words, okay? Let's let it continue.
To this point here, right, they made me get on the ground. One of them got off the horse. When he got off the horse, if I made any moves, you get smoked. They get a free kill. They got notches on their shit from niggas they done killed.
Yeah.
They keeping the score. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's why I say, let's not play with this shit. This is slavery. This is my first day. I'm like, you, what the fuck is this?
You still a child? Yeah, you still a kid
too.
You what, 17, 18?
I'm 17.
17?
Like, what the fuck is this? Make me get on my knees. One of them get off, handcuff me, right? And I'm thinking this, well, at least I get a ride back in the building. I'm out this shit. They got me fucked up. No, that's not happening, bro. Guess what they do? You know, do they whip you? They don't whip you, right? That's what they do. It's hot outside right now, right? Yeah. They have a trailer. Everybody knows a trailer, like they go on the track, back of a truck. Yeah. They have a trailer that's enclosed with a fence, a regular fence. Yeah. They handcuff you in this trailer, put you in this trailer like this, no seats in the trailer or nothing, for the rest of the day. Welcome to burning hell. I'm telling you, I've been a slave, bro. And that shit ain't nothing to play with. I can tell you this, though. By day 6, I was the most best cotton picking nigga they ever had down in that motherfucker. Look here, say, look here. And I wasn't the only one. It was some stiff cotton picking niggas down there. Do you hear what I'm saying? Hey, nigga, I'm telling you the honest truth, meaning they have perfected on mentally and physically breaking niggas. And listen, if you got 2 out of line, I'm finna get to your story too. Listen, that's them breaking. After that, if you get 2 out of line, them niggas will whoop you out there.
Now, pay attention to what the brother just said. Do you remember that broadcast that I just did not too long ago on some of the most evil social experiments conducted in America? Remember the 5 monkeys experiment? Pay close attention to what he's describing, and I want you to think back to that experiment, okay? Because that's exactly the behavior that experiment was showing you about conditioning and behavior. I want y'all to pay close attention to that.
Hey, you fucking it up for everybody. Nigga, if boss man say, this nigga ain't acting right, them niggas will whoop you out there. So I went from that to having fights out there. And guess what? Fight, win, lose, or draw. Back to picking cotton.
Tell them about the gun line, boss. Tell them about the gun line, boss. Tell them about the gun line, boss. Tell them about the gun line, boss.
Shout out to Cajun Dogfire. He said, AM, I used to work for Angola prison in Louisiana. Louisiana. You feel what I'm saying? When you start, look, down south, some of these places, you can't say the word properly. You feel what I'm saying? You can't say Mississippi. You got to say Mississippi. And you can't say Louisiana. You got to say Louisiana. And you can't say New Orleans, you got to say Nolans. Any state that you live in where they do not traditionally pronounce the name of that state, you better get the hell out of that state. I'm going to say it again so that you Negroes can hear what I'm saying to you. Okay? South of the Mason-Dixon line. If you're in a state that they do not traditionally pronounce the proper way, like Nolans, Louisiana, Mississippi, you better get your ass up out of that damn state. Cajun Darkfire said, AM, I used to work for Angola prison in Louisiana.
Now, I'm glad that he went on that screed about getting up out of states where it's not pronounced like the state is actually spelled. But Angryman, why won't you go into detail about why, particularly a black person, or as you like to say in the third person, you Negroes, yet you claim you're one of us, why would they have to leave the state? What's the thing that would make them have to leave? See, over here in New Black Media Space, we know what it is. It's called white supremacy. And where you gonna go if you did leave? Because it's not just in a handful of states. It is global. See, I'm gonna point out the things that he gets right, but I'm gonna also point out things that he don't really talk about. Because again, if you just got to leave the state because it's so bad, what's the reason you're leaving? As a black person, what's the reason? See, let me tell y'all something. One of the things that we try to teach you over here in New Black Media Spaces is when you face with a problem, okay, and this is a problem that a lot of the coons have. They want to hide from the problem. No. Hiding from a problem is just like that old analogy where if you sweep dirt up on the rug long enough, it's just going to make a lump up on the rug. When you face with a problem, now you have to figure out a solution to the problem, okay? See, a lot of the coon class, they don't want to acknowledge that. So again, I'm glad that he spent time breaking that down that way, because you need to say, what's the reason a black person would have to leave a state like that? Let's let it continue.
They made inmates clear the swamp every day. Every day. That's what old boy is in store for. That's what he's in store for. And let's be clear. He ain't never coming home. He ain't never coming home. If he does not get lethal injection, he gonna get life. He gonna get life. He gonna get natural life. He gonna get natural life. He's done. He's done. He's done. His ass is done for. You feel me? His ass is done for. Like real shit. His ass is done for. He done for. He is done for. There ain't nothing, there ain't no saving him. It ain't no saving him. He's done for. It's a wrap. But see, I'm gonna tell you something. This show you just how hard-headed Negroes are. This show you just how hard it, like, it's some black folk that will hear a story like that and they will say immediately, ain't no way in hell I'm gonna do anything that would even give me the opportunity to end up in that situation. There's no way on God's green earth. And you got some Negroes that hear that shit and they'll just keep it pushing like they don't care.
Now, the statement he just made, here's the thing. You have people like that, a criminal class in every community. Every nationality and race over here, you have criminals that be like, hey, look, it is what it is. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. It's not just black folk. Because see, y'all going to see a little bit later here, a couple of things he's going to bring up, and it's a recurring problem, and we stay addressing it over here. The whole thing where if we don't exist as a perfect society with no crime and everything is just perfect, then we don't deserve to be treated with respect. No other race of people thinks like that. Every other group has a criminal class, but you never hear them come out saying, hey, you know, until we need to do better, we can't ask nobody to treat us better than we treat ourselves. They never come out. You won't find the Asians doing that. They have a criminal class. The Hispanics, they have a criminal class. You're damn sure not going to see it from the dominant side. What they tell you. When a mass shooter come out and does something, what is he? We all know the two words. Say it with me. A lone wolf. At no point in time does their criminal class, do they come out on mainstream media anywhere and say their criminal class is indicative of the behavior of their entire society. You don't see that anywhere else except for the coon class amongst us. But he's going to get into that a little bit later. Let's let him continue.
And that's what's amazing to me. That is what is amazing to me. Yeah. Oh, you gonna learn, Trey. You gonna learn. You gonna learn. Trust and believe you gonna learn. You gonna learn. You gonna learn. You think you Billy Badass out here? Shout out to Black Manta. Appreciate you. Shout out to Black Beauty. Black Beauty said, my niggas is strong regardless. Shout out to Christopher. Appreciate you. Shout out to 30 Below. He said, check out his IG. He got pics of his father. Shout out to IMP. He said, salute AM. I'm 40 minutes from Panola County. Sad. Shout out to Jim Rat. He said, used to be a CO in Texas. Hard, too quiet. Miles said, AM on your left. Black people are done.
Now, you heard that comment right there. See, that's what you find over there in this chat room. Black people are done. See, this is from that burn the community and all that other stuff that they're talking about. See, first of all, again, when you hear people, and chances are that probably tells it, because like I said again, his audience is composed of mostly tellers, FBA coons, and anti-black racist white people, okay? He, like I said, he trying to do his little imitation Tommy Jr. thing. But when you hear a black person talking like that, man, we done. First of all, those of us who are foundational black American freedmen, we know not to adopt that mindset, because if our ancestors had done that, we would not be here today. Imagine if our ancestors had that mindset because of a few Sambos and amongst them that sold everybody out, okay? Because we this came from the plantation. This, to be honest with you, this is something we should have cleared up once we got out them plantations. We should have got rid of all our coons. But imagine if on them plantations they said, man, every time we get ready to get off of here, man, you know, the Sambos and the coons, we ain't gonna never get free. Well, we may just sit here. All of you that know history from New Black Media Spaces, we got documentary work by several brothers and sisters that chronicles our history of not just accepting that with that defeatist mentality. See, let me tell you something, especially young black people listening to the sound of my voice right now. If you got black people around you that think like that, man, we done. We ain't gonna never get as far away from them as possible. You go find on code like-minded brothers and sisters that are about continuing the work of resistance, doing what you can with what you have, and never looking the other way on racism and white supremacy, okay? And of course, that comes with accountability for the things that we do as a people. All of that combined, but I just want to take the time to point that out. I don't keep people like that around, man. We done for as a people, especially from a man. See, look, no disrespect to our sisters, because we got some sisters that don't even adopt that mindset. But I would expect to hear that from a woman or a child. No disrespect to the women, because you know me, I'm a traditionalist. I expect the women to be the ones to not have the answers to everything. We are the leaders and protectors of our society. It's normal for women to drop their heads in despair because they don't see a way out of things. But see, me, I was raised parent household with my father, grandfathers, uncles. We didn't play that thing. See, let me tell you something. I remember, before we get back to this, I'm going to tell you a short little story. I remember coming up as a kid, one of the first times I uttered the words can't around my father. My father looked at me and said, son, no, we don't do can't. You don't ever put that in your mind, because see, the minute that you do that, that's a permanent obstacle to you achieving anything. See, that might seem like a simple thing, but y'all better stop and think about what I just said to you. You don't adopt a what you can't do or failure mindset because you have no belief in yourself. And then eventually, if you stay around a group of people that think that way, your life stands stagnant. You won't make any progress anywhere. Think back to what I was saying about conditioning. I want y'all to go back and check out that broadcast that I did on the worst social experiments in American history. That conditioning is amongst a lot of our people, especially the coon class, but we're going to let them get back to it. Let's let them continue.
Ogun said, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Shout out to Dap. He said, target hitting these trolls in the clouds. Boom bap. Shout out to Machiavelli. He said, showing love. Shout out to Bryant. Appreciate you. Shout out to Computer Geek. Shout out to Anonymous. Shout out to Andrew. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Omar. He said, AM in the AM, we getting to it at work right now, bro. No doubt. And shout out to the people who hit the Cash App yesterday during the premiere. Everybody that hit the Cash App yesterday morning. I definitely appreciate it. But yeah, this is some pitiful shit. This is some pitiful shit. This right here is some pitiful shit. But I'm still tripping off of the fact that he did that in front of that dude's grandmother. I'm still tripping off of that. Yo, shout out to CBJ 420. He says supporting the show. Appreciate you. Shout out to John. He said, appreciate you, big bro. Shout out to Joe. Appreciate you. So we're going to see how this is going to play out. We're going to see if this dude is going to get, if he going to get life in prison or what he going to get. You feel me? Either way, it's not going to be good. That's for damn sure. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be no picnic. But that brings me to the other problem that nobody wants to talk about, nobody wants to address. Now, some of y'all will hear the brother I just played talking about being in the prison system and talking about how those prison guards got notches on their belt from how many brothers they done deleted, right? And y'all will sit back and say, oh my God, that's so horrific, right? See, here's the problem with the pro-black argument in this day and age. You can't run around here complaining about how other groups of people devalue black life. And the reason why you can't make that argument is because you don't hold black life in any high regard more than they do.
Stop right there. I told you it was coming. Okay, Angryman. I've got a question for you because, like I said, this is not a dumb man. This is an intelligent guy. He is. A lot of coons are very intelligent. Angryman, the question I have for you is this. Do you think that you could go to any other community, Asian, Hispanic, Arab, East Indian, white people, and tell them because they have a criminal class that because of that criminal class's existence, that they don't value the lives of their people? Because to be honest with you, the criminal class of the greater majority of all communities is a small percentage of those people. Do you think you could carry that same message to you and it be received well there? Because if the answer is no, then why do you think that that message is appropriate for people in the black community? Making the French statements, we. Most black people do care about each other's lives. That's the entire reason why there was damn near a global uprising behind what happened to George Floyd. Breonna Taylor. See, I could go on and name a lot of these names. Y'all know if you've been in new black media spaces on the black grassroots out here. The reason why you don't think we care about black life and you use the we statement, you're not connected to any black grassroots work out here. You're not. And then the people that you know of, you ignore that in order to push that narrative that you have. The average black person out here loves their family, their children, okay? The average black person will defend their family and children from these types of things. But you'll focus on that small criminal class and say, you Negroes don't care. That's another thing. Speaking about us in the third person, you be giving it away, man. You be giving it away that you really not one of us, but I'm going to leave that alone. You Negroes don't care about each other's lives. Come on, man. Really? Because a criminal do something, everybody else in black society that don't have nothing to do with that is responsible. See, you're an intelligent guy, but you make yourself sound very foolish when you talk like that. Because you know that doesn't make any sense. Now, if you're aware of that, and that's just what you do, you know what I'm saying, to get your views and clicks, hey, have at it. We got plenty of people doing that. But if you really do believe that, come on, brother. That makes no sense whatsoever, and you know that. But I'm going to let him continue talking about this. Let him continue.
If this brother right here, Superstar Pride, if he valued black life, he would have never did that to that brother. And see, this is what trips me out. For all the Negroes that love to run around talking about racism, talking about antebellum slavery, talking about Jim Crow, how can you talk about any of that and you don't even value black life?
Let me add this to it. I'm going to answer your question, Angryman, because you did the pro-blacks thing. Angryman, if what you said had any real truth to it, why come you don't see the greater majority of black society in our neighborhoods? It look like the damn Hunger Games. I'm talking about every time we in the supermarket somewhere, we just hunting each other down. You act like that's what's happening over that small criminal class in our community. Because the numbers show that, okay? See, the numbers show that. If it was really like you say, oh, we just don't value black life, you would have no place where there's a decent black neighborhood where people get along in peace, just go to work and take care of their business. That place would not exist. See, these types of statements, when people break them down and analyze them, and it's not just a bunch of yes men in your chat room, a bunch of tilters, anti-black racist white people, and coon class from our lineage, when people actually push back on that with the simplest of common sense, because I hadn't even got started breaking this down all the way yet, but I'm just giving you the common sense version of how you push back on that. That is not reality. That's a world you've got set in your head because, let's face it for what it is, you've latched on to white conservative talking points. When you have the likes of Jason Whitlock on your platform, and his platform, he can do whatever he wants, that lets you know about the mindset of people that have that viewpoint. Again, take that logic to any other community that has crime. Any of you that are subscribed to the good brother Professor Black Truth and you catch the Friday Crime Report, you see all the stuff that they hide in their communities in dominant society on the mainstream media. Now, you present any one of those cases to a white person. See, let's just say it out loud. Imagine blaming all of white society for Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, Ted Kaczynski, Unabomber, whoever you want to name. Hey, white people, this is your entire society. They would never accept that. Even though you could make the argument that they facilitated by overlooking these types of criminals in their community until they pull off a Stephen Paddock, Las Vegas shooting. Oh, and I got something coming for Jason Aldean too. Oh, make sure you look on the live tab. I'm going to break that down to a fraction, and we're going to scientifically debunk all of that. with the Jason Aldean situation. I know a lot of y'all been asking me about it. Trust me. We're going to have that coming up very soon. But Angryman, that logical yours is flawed, man. Again, if you know that you full of shit on that, that's one thing. If you actually believe that, think about what I just said. Let's let it continue.
How can you talk about any of that if you don't value black life yourself? Better yet, here's an even better question. How do you expect another group of people to value the lives of your group of people when you don't even value the lives of your group of people? How much do you value life you're willing to go to a man's house and gun him down in his own backyard?
That dusty Negro does not represent all of black society. None of the criminal class does. And see, Angryman, let me throw you something else for you to think about, okay? Because see, we're going to challenge this with intelligence. If, as you say, we don't care about any black lives, why did you have people trying to get justice for Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, our sister Breonna Taylor? Hell, let's take it on even further back, okay? Little Aiyana Jones. See, I remember the names of my tribe that have fallen, okay? I remember them, whether it's harmed by someone that within our community or without. Now, let's go ahead and debunk something before we take it on further back in history, because, see, I'm finna make this talking point of his, I'm about to tear it apart. Angryman, if, as you say, we didn't value black life at all, okay? That's what you're saying here. I'm taking you out of context. Tell me something. If we didn't value black life at all, why is it today that on the grassroots, every time something affects our people, you see people out here addressing that specific issue? If we didn't care about each other, okay, or our communities, we would never bring anything up. Let's take it on further back to history. The entire reason that we're seeking reparations is because we do value the lives of our people and our lineage. But see, if you're not of our lineage, though, you wouldn't really understand that, would you? Would you? We value the lives of our ancestors. See, those of us that can trace our family lineage on back through generations, oh, yes, we do value the lives of those people. That's the entire reason the black grassroots are doing what we're doing out here now. If we didn't value black life, we would not be pushing back against them taking the truth about history out of these schools. See, there's so many different ways that you can debunk this, okay? But again, when you're the type of person that's not connected to any black grassroots activists, and the only thing that you are concerned about is entertainment, because you love hip-hop culture. Oh, you love that. We can clearly see that. You love that. But you don't love anything connected to solving black people's issues. And that's your right to have that standpoint. I applaud you and I appreciate that. I want more people to come out and let us know where they stand like you have. So I applaud you on that, Angryman. We need everybody in our community or adjacent to our community to put their cards on the table. It's time for that. We want that from the white supremacists as well. Everybody put your cards on the table so we know where everybody stands. So I'm going to let them continue on telling us how we just don't value black life at all over here because of the actions of some dusty Negro or dusty hood rat that condemns our entire community, huh? No other group of people thinks this way. Ask yourself when the last time you ever seen an Asian, Hispanic, East Indian, Arab, white person get up there and make these types of statements with their head down talking about, oh, we need to do better. You don't ever hear them saying that. I challenge you to find me any instance of that. Please find that for me. Let's let them continue.
I'm going to say that again. How much do you really value life if you're willing to go to a man's house and gun him down in his own backyard in front of his grandmother, for God's sakes? How do you value life? Shout out to Amir. He said, keep dropping them facts and them bombs. Appreciate you. Shout out to JD. He said, for the show, thanks for the knowledge, bro. Appreciate you. How? Yo, we're damn near at 1,000 people and we only got 571 likes. Hit the like button. You know.
Salute to the brother Fatty for the PayPal donation. Thank you very much, brother. Hey, Fatty. Listen, the brother that just donated there, Fatty, he understands what I'm talking about with the brother Angryman. Okay, he does. Because see, I'm gonna be fair in my critique. I'm asking logical questions. Okay, logical questions. Hopefully, if he does see this, I would like to hear him do a response. But if not, that's fine. But I'm gonna make sure that I put this out here for our audience. Okay, you can't say that we don't care about the lives of our people. So again, salute to you for that donation there, brother Fatty. There, let's let this continue.
You know what's funny? What's funny is how many people are gonna run over here now and say, Angryman, all you do is talk about the black woman. I'm talking about black men today. Notice they ain't nowhere to be found. Notice that they ain't nowhere to be found. Where they at? That's not a good point, though, Angryman. Oh, really? It's not a good point? Let me go ahead and get the link for you. Let me go ahead and get this link for you so you can come on up here and tell me how that's not a good point. Here we go. You think I'm not making a good point? Go ahead and hit that link. Go ahead and hit that link and come on up here and tell me how I'm not making a good point.
Salute to the brother Grinch for the cash up. I appreciate you very much, my brother. And to your comment, brother Grinch. Actually, I have to disagree with you on that because there have been several issues over the years, and let's be clear, Angryman is entitled to his opinion on his platform. He is, all of us are. But there have been several issues pertaining to black people that comes across as cooning. I mean, what do you call Jason Whitlock? Come on, man. And the brother Grinch, you are a very intelligent brother yourself. Somebody, I get it, that's your boy, but cooning is cooning. We gonna give him a fair critique over here tonight, though, because I'm gonna let him get into this portion of the interview, because I think you probably saw this stream as well. But yeah, I look, you can say pragmatist, but when it comes to people siding specifically against the best interests of our group, that, my brother, is definitely a coon, male or female. Okay, doesn't matter which lineage they're from, FBA, non-FBA. You gotta call a coon what it is. And before we get back to it, I'll tell you why that's so important. You know, and I think you already know this, but if you look at any important revolution, particularly Haiti or right here on these plantations as far as American chattel slavery is concerned, in order for any of those things to be successful, the first thing they had to do was take care of the coons, man. I mean, that's what has been one of our greatest hindrances, one of, not the only, but one of our greatest hindrances here as foundational Black American freedmen in America. But I'm gonna let the brother get back to it, and we're gonna assess the situation here as he gets into this discussion.
Rest of you guys, hit the like button, hit the Cash App, support the show. We spitting this realness early this morning, AM in the AM. Y'all already know how we do. Shout out to Kyra. Kyra said it's a very good point. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Look, I just gave Kyra a wrench for agreeing with me. Now niggas got another reason to say I'm biased. He be booting people that don't agree with him, and he be giving wrenches to people that agree with him. Yep, I sure do. I surely do.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I be over here being biased than a motherfucker. You feel me? I'm over here biased as hell. Now, as always, I notice we not getting the same support that we normally do because I'm talking about the fellas now. I'm talking about black men now. Uh-huh. Talking about black men now. So since I'm talking about black men now, you feel me? Now we not gonna get the same type of support. Oh my goodness.
Salute to Jafar Kazim for the cash out. Thank you very much, my brother. But I want to address a point that he just made about his stream when he did this, when it was live. He has a point there. Now, if they're gonna show up to hear him critique, black women primarily, then if he's addressing men, they should also give the man the same support. That's a fair point right there. But I will say this, whether you critiquing black men or black women, there's one thing that we must keep in mind. Are you doing so in good faith, though? That would be a question that I would ask not just to him, but anybody. Okay? Because, see, when it comes to our issues in the community, and y'all know us over here, we call it like it is. It's not just one side or the other. It's bi-directional. I've given y'all this analogy many times. If you got a car with 4 flat tires and you only fix 2 on one side, you still have a problem with the mobility of that automobile, okay? Same thing applies to our community. We only fix one side and don't fix the other, still got a problem. We work together to fix our issues and call both sides out equally, not just one side or the other. That makes no sense. It doesn't, because see, if you look at communities outside of ours, if there's an issue, they deal with the totality of it and they tell the truth about it because they know that in America, all these other groups classified as white are against those of us who are black. They can't afford not to be unified and codified with their anti-black racism against us. So the counter to that for us as black people, foundational black American freedmen in particular, we have to make sure that we hold both sides accountable, not just one or the other. But he made a good point there. If they was running out of his chat room because he started critiquing men, that goes to show you that they can't take hearing the truth. And that should say something about your platform if that's the way it is, because he will mention issues about men and women. Again, I question, is it in good faith or not, though? But let's let him continue.
Yeah. Oh, I see Machiavelli K in the chat room. He donated. Let me give him a wrench. There you go, good sir.
If we agree with you, then we're black. We love black people. If we find ourselves in opposition to what you say, all of a sudden we hate ourselves and we hate black people. Who died and left you that kind of authority with your opinion? Who? Tell me.
Now, in case those of you are not familiar with who that was speaking, that was the late David Carroll. Now, we're not going to denigrate the dead over here. We don't do that. But I covered and showed you a lot of the viewpoints of Mr. David Carroll when he was among the land of the living. That is the same man that said Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith was an accurate portrayal of black people. He was alive. Yes, his cooning was on 10. That's no disrespect to him in death. It is the truth. The man's channel is still up. I have covered his issues and his beliefs. See, here's the thing. Here's what I'm noticing, right? A lot of times when you have people that do take the mindset of a David Carroll, okay? Yes, we hate crime in the black community. We don't condone that. Not any of us that love our people and want a prosperous community. Of course we don't. We can't stand it. A lot of the crime, like they like to say, black on black crime, first of all, it's just crime. Crime is committed in proximity to where you live. There's no certain special color of crime. Crime is crime. But let's go there. A lot of the times it's the decent black people that are trying to defend ourselves from the dusty Negroes. Because you're going to protect yourself and your family by any means necessary. And when that crime is committed in our community, whether it's one of us, we get punished for it. Outside of our community, when someone white or white adjacent harms us, it damn near take an act of God to get them prosecuted. We've seen that over and over and over and over again. So when people make the argument about the black on black crime, yes, we get punished immediately when we do something to one another. It's not the same when one of these race soldiers kills us, or we see, look what happened with Jordan Neely's situation up there in New York. Daniel Penny snuck up behind this homeless man and choked him out for no reason. Look at what happened to our sister Breonna Taylor, murdered in our own house. Okay? Some of those situations, justice was acquired, but it was not without the acts of the black grassroots out here pushing to get justice. See, we have to call these things for what they really are, though. But like I said, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm entitled to critique it and challenge it with intelligence. Let it continue.
Axe. What's going on?
Angryman, what's happening, bro?
What's good?
Salute to Charlie X for the cash app and our family. I want y'all to pay attention to this conversation he's about to have with the brother here, Malcolm McRoy, on the right. This is going to be a very important conversation. I want y'all to pay attention to everything that's said. In fact, I'm going to let the greater majority of it play before I make any type of commentary.
With you.
Ain't not much, man. Thank you for having me on. Man, I can't sit here and say I totally disagree with your point. I agree with what you're saying. I agree that black men or people in the black community should, value ourselves more, and we should hold each other to a higher standard. I agree with that, but for you to say that we can't get, upset or anything about the way another race of people treat us based off of what we do to each other, I just don't think that's fair to the whole black community, because everybody ain't ignorant. Everybody ain't niggas. Everybody ain't doing street shit. So what about the motherfuckers that ain't doing it? They should just, be shit out of luck because everybody else is, doing dumb shit. The point I'm trying to make is what goes on with our people is the same thing that's gonna go on with any race of people, man. You're gonna always have crime in any race of people. That don't mean you should be disrespected by the next man that's from a different race, and that don't give that man the right to use what you and your people got going on to validate him fucking you over. You know what I'm saying? Another point I was gonna make, my bad, man, my fucking mind went blank for a second, but yeah, you make a good point. We should stop, doing the ignorant ass shit that, we out here doing. You make a real good point, but that don't give another man a reason to come over here and, fuck me over all because of what me and another brother of mine got going on, because that's pretty much you asking black people to do what's impossible or just get disrespected by everybody. If you can't do what's impossible by stopping crime, which ain't gonna happen, because there's gonna be crime in everybody's community. Nobody's gonna stop crime in no community. You're always gonna be harmed. You're always gonna be subject to a robbery, subject to a shooting, subject to a scam, and that's in every community. And nobody's gonna stop it 100% or, make a big, difference in it, because it's gonna always happen. You just gonna have to, you know what I mean? I don't know what we can do to fix it as a whole that would make people stop saying that.
So let me ask you this question. So you think that a white guy should value your life more than you value your life?
No, he shouldn't. He shouldn't. I should value my life
so
more than anybody else values my life, and I should value the life of the next man that looks like me.
Okay, so if let me ask you this.
Let me go ahead and throw a question in here. Cause see, the brother Malcolm McRoy that came up with that, he look, a lot of times when people are allowed up on these types of panels that, you know, where a lot of times mostly everybody agrees with them. Okay. And Angryman does allow people to disagree, but he'll go off the chain depending on what it is. He can be very passionate in his discussions. Anybody that's familiar with his content knows that. But see, the Malcolm brother, he wasn't prepared because see, I would throw this out here. Here's a question for you. Angryman, if somebody in your family committed a crime or was a criminal, okay, hypothetically, because I don't know anything about this brother's family and I'm not taking a shot at this family, we'll never do that. But hypothetically, if you were related to a criminal and they did XYZ out there or whatever, and then people mistreated you because of what your family member did, you would not think that's okay. You would say, hey, I'm not responsible for what my cousin over there did. That got nothing to do with me. And you know you would. You can't say that you wouldn't. You can't. And see, let's go here with it. What I need to see, or what I will ask to see rather, is the next white mass shooting that happens, why don't you go tell them white folks they need to do better? Where's that same energy for these other communities that have the crime? But see, I rarely ever hear him talking about that kind of stuff. You don't have that same critique for them. Because see, in a land where we have laws, the truth is all life should be respected. Unless somebody's trying to bring particular harm to you, it's not about whether I respect this person's life more than they respect mine. If we're a law-abiding citizens, we should respect everyone's life in this country under the law, okay? Outside of a circumstance where you have to defend yourself from egregious harm. See, the young brother right here, he wasn't prepared to make an intelligent rebuttal, but I want y'all to hear how the rest of this exchange goes. Let's let it continue.
If I come to if you were to pick me up, if I said, hey man, I need a ride to work. You said, I got you. I'm gonna come through and pick you up, right? So you come through and pick me up in your car. And when I get in your car, you gotta literally rake trash off of the seat because you got so much trash in the car. Like the car is a whole pigsty, right? I get in the car and I'm eating a breakfast sandwich because I'm on my way to work and I got a napkin holding it. As soon as I get finished with the sandwich, I ball up the napkin and throw it on the floor.
Right.
Can you be mad at me?
He absolutely can be mad at you, and I'm gonna break this down and make it simple. It doesn't matter what somebody does with their property or what you think of them for doing it. And that particular analogy that he just laid out right there. Yes, you would be wrong because it's not your car. Yes, you would be wrong. That would be disrespect. Unless the person said, hey, that's cool, but you just doing it just because, see, look, what he trying to do is say, hey, listen, how you expect me to treat your stuff better than you do? But if I offer you a ride in something that belongs to me, you give me that respect regardless. And see, let me tell you something, Angryman, the problem with that logic right there is if you take that logic outside in the real world, look at a lot of the problems in our community that start. Because see, watch this. Every grown man in here knows, listen to the sound of my voice, every grown man in here knows that the minute that two men or a group of men are without respect for each other, everything goes bad from there. So as far as it depends upon those of us with intelligence, you try to lead with respect until you're disrespected. So yes, you're dead wrong. That was a very juvenile analogy that you gave there, Angryman. But see, this young brother here, you're going to hear his response. He wasn't really prepared to challenge his argument there. But hey, I'm going to let y'all hear what the brother Malcolm here has to say in return to that.
Can I be mad at you for throwing a napkin on my floor?
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah.
But how you gonna do that if your car is full of trash already?
Right.
How you gonna be mad at me for throwing a napkin on the floor?
Because it belongs to him. I'll do you one better, Angryman. If you and one of your relatives got into a knockdown, drag out fist fight, y'all can do that. That's your relative. You gonna let somebody else go and punch him in the face because you did it? Or what you gonna do? You be like, hey, motherfucker, that's my cousin. I can do it, but you can't. Right? I dare you to tell me that you wouldn't think like that. Come on now. See, this young brother wasn't really prepared, but hey, I digress. Let him get back to it.
That's a good point. I get it, but at the end of the day, that's still my trashy car. Not saying that it's cool to have a trashy car.
That right there is the problem.
Now you think that's a problem?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's a huge problem because what it does is it shows you the.
Think that's a problem?
I know it's a problem. I know it's a problem.
I can't hear.
I said I know it's a problem. Can you hear me now?
How so?
Because how in the hell you gonna be? How can you expect me to take better care of your car than you do?
Right.
How?
Oh, no. You're right. I agree. If somebody come around, if one of your homeboys come around and his car is clean, it's always clean, he values his car, he takes good care of his car, he's always getting his oil changes, you know what I mean, on time, and you know that he take care of his car, you gonna be more likely to come around and respect his car because you know that he respects his car. I get that. Exactly. But we're not talking about throwing a piece of a dirty napkin on the ground. We're talking about harming somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just because me and my blood brother got something going on and I don't like my blood brother, it could be fuck my blood brother. It could be whenever I see this nigga on Thanksgiving, it's going down at grandma's house. It could be really fuck this nigga. But if I hear about another nigga down the street, a brother upside my head, I mean, the hit my brother upside his head, nigga, that's still my grandmother's grandson. That's still my mama's son. And I'm finna come holler at you about it. And it's still gonna be fuck my brother. It can still be fuck him. But that's my brother. And I'm the only one that's gonna whoop his ass. If anybody gonna whoop his ass.
And guess what? There's a word for that. You know what that word is?
What is it?
Hypocrisy.
Actually, it's called being on code, Angryman. Cause see, let's break down the flaw with his logic. We're going to use real world examples, and y'all not going to be able to show me not one where it has happened. Every other community, as we stated, has crime in it. Let's look at a specific recent example. Remember what happened to Kai Gurley when Peter Liang killed that brother out there? You never saw Asians protest in this country. But when that happened, even Asians that traditionally have issues with each other, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, what happened from California to New York? They all got on code and said, whatever our petty issues are, put this to the side, let Peter Liang go. You never see Asians protest. So my point is this, you will never see them get up on any public platform and throw their own under the bus. They'll be like, listen, we'll deal with anything that we need to deal with in-house. That is not hypocrisy. That is staying on code. But see, you wouldn't understand that when you have a coon's mindset. I will never sit up with nobody else that's not of my people and criticize my own. Look, let me tell you how on code I am about it. Two situations. Jesse Lee Peterson, he's of our lineage. I'm not going, if I was on Fox News or whatever, I'm not going to critique him with a bunch of white people. That's for me and my community to do. If it was Candace Owens, who is not of my lineage, I'm not going to sit up with a bunch of white people and critique Candace Owens because she's still black, even though she's not of my lineage. That's family business and extended family business. So no, it's not hypocrisy. It's a lesson that we better learn because see, Angryman, I challenge you to do this again because he's an intelligent guy. good, bad, right or wrong, show me where other communities go against their people. Show me. Especially in agreement with black people. Where do they do that, Angryman? See, for those of us that understand the system of racism and white supremacy, we know better than that. Because yes, we condemn wrongdoing amongst our people, but we know not to stand against our people with other groups, because you're not going to see them do that with us. And I challenge anybody to show me a time where they have done it in America. Let's let it continue.
And anytime you operate,
it may be, but
anytime you're operating in hypocrisy, it makes your argument weaker.
You're breaking up.
I said, anytime you operating in hypocrisy, it makes your argument weaker.
I can't hear you.
You're probably in a bad area. Can you hear me now?
Oh no! I'm sorry. I was getting a phone call.
All right, can you hear me now?
My bad. Yeah, I hear you. A phone call was coming through. Sorry.
Okay, so anytime you operate in hypocrisy, it makes your argument weaker, regardless of what the subject is. It makes your argument weaker, and it gives other people the justification to do certain shit. It's just like if somebody sees you being mean to your child, when you're not around, guess what? They're gonna be mean to your child too, because
they're gonna be mean to your child.
You set the tone. So what I'm saying is, if black people valued their lives more, okay, it would be harder for other groups of people to say, well, they killing each other. They wouldn't have that weak ass fucking excuse. And don't get it twisted. It is a weak ass excuse. But what I'm saying is, we give that weak ass excuse validity.
Now, see, this proves that Angryman is not a dumb person, because you heard what he said. It's a weak ass excuse. He's right. It is weak. Angryman, this is what I posit to you. Even if we had a perfect society in America, especially those of us who are foundational Black American freedmen, even if we had a perfect society, white supremacy and anti-Black racism would still exist and target us. They wouldn't just stop harming us, because their goal is to exterminate our people. We've seen it time and time again. And the other question I would have for you, Angryman, is this. When it comes to hypocrisy, there's no bigger display of that than the dominant society. Where's your critique of them for the hypocrisy they show? Look at what happened with the Brock Turner case. Huh? The judge said he didn't want to ruin his life, and they caught this boy with all the evidence, a known sexual assaulter, okay? All the evidence right there. Remember the affluenza teen? Remember him? There's some hypocrisy for you. See, I could go on and on with that when it comes to hypocrisy, but I don't hear you challenging them on their hypocrisy. So no, even if we didn't have those issues, they would not just leave us alone. Case in point, you got everyday Black people that's not out here committing crimes, and these race soldiers are still targeting them. White supremacists are still targeting them. How do you explain that? See, that logic doesn't hold up when you actually analyze. This young brother just wasn't prepared to push back, though. Let's let it continue.
You heard?
Damn it. Keep calling my damn phone. I keep on getting a phone call and shit. God damn.
Can you
my
hear me?
fault, man.
Can you hear me now, bro?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm sorry. I keep on getting a damn phone call. My bad.
So look,
I hear you though.
So look, what I'm saying is, whenever they make that weak ass excuse, our behavior gives that weak ass excuse validity. It gives it validity, even if it is a weak ass excuse. See, if we as Black people, and you brought up the Black people that ain't doing nothing wrong to nobody, and that's cool. But the problem with the Black people that ain't doing nothing wrong to anybody is they not calling out the niggas that are doing something wrong.
Now, see, this is exactly how you know he's not connected to any grassroots work. We call that out all the time over here in New Black Media Spaces. We were some of the first ones to hold Carly Russell accountable on her foolishness. A lot of times, this is what I notice in a lot of these spaces, because people doesn't know what work are being done on the ground or whatever, they tend to just say anything, okay? And then even if he wasn't aware of black grassroots work, which he probably isn't, to make that statement when you know that if somebody harms the average black person, they try to either get justice through the court system or they go and end up taking that into their own hands, which brings me back to where I was before about us defending ourselves from dusty Negroes. See, what he's trying to do here with this narrative, it just don't make sense when you look at what happens in the real world. It's good to spin a narrative in your head, but when you go outside and you actually look at the things I just stated, you see exactly why things go the way they go. Just let it continue.
That's the problem. That's the problem. So the black people that ain't doing nothing wrong, they are doing something wrong. Somebody once said, in order for evil men to triumph, good men must do nothing. So the good black people need to call the bad black people out on their bullshit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I don't disagree with what you're saying. You make a good point. I pretty much agree with all the points that you've been making. I've been listening to you, for a little while now, and for the most part, 98% of the time, I agree with everything that you're saying. I just feel like a lot of certain shit go out the window when it comes to harming somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like it shouldn't matter what I got going on. That don't give you a right to do whatever you want to do to me, and that don't mean that I can't get upset about it. You know what I mean?
But guess what?
I might look stupid.
But guess what?
I might look stupid. I can still get up because you're harming me.
But guess what? Guess what? You be hard pressed to find some black.
Oh my God!
What they call you again?
It's true.
Bro. Yo.
My bad, man.
Hey, man.
I'm here.
Yeah, man. Go take your phone call, bro. I appreciate you coming up, man.
Oh, my damn phone.
Yeah, go ahead and take your call, man. It must be something important.
I am.
All right.
I am, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate you having me on. I'm about to get back in the chat and listen.
All right, man. So, like I was saying, right? And I want everybody, I want black folks to understand what I'm saying, right? So, don't get it twisted. If another group of people indiscriminately commit crimes against black people, and they say, well, y'all do it to each other, that is a weak excuse. However,
it's not just a weak excuse, it's anti-black racism and white supremacy, Angryman. Why is it so hard for you to say that?
It gives validity to the excuse when it's true that you do the same stuff to each other. Period. Right? Point blank, period. If you go to a white neighborhood and it's a...
So he keeps saying that if we mistreat each other, it gives validity to them to practice anti-black racism and white supremacy, because we're going to call it what it is over here. But then you turn around and say it's a weak excuse. Angryman, let me ask you something. In a country with laws, like I said, that doesn't validate them harming us just because we do things to each other. It's still against the law. And you like law and order, don't you? Tell me where my logic is flawed on that. Man, again, I want you, let me make a statement of fact here, because see, this can be proven. Y'all might disagree, but he is not a dumb person. He is very well read. You can consider him an autodidact if you want. He knows who Dr. Frances Cress Wilson is. He's read her work. Dr. John Henry Clark, Grandmaster teachers in our community, he knows their work, okay? Don't think that he doesn't. Yes, he does. So my question would be, and he says he was a part of the Nation of Islam, according to him, how could you have access to all that knowledge and then you turn around and make excuses about why black people are harmed? Don't just say it's a weak excuse. No, it's a system behind that excuse that we do not have an equivalent to as black people. I'm going to let him continue with his thoughts in, and further we're going to critique this because there's another conversation coming up that I want y'all to catch.
A gated community, and you're able to go in that community, and you don't see no trash on the ground. You don't see no old beat up cars in the driveway. All you see is manicured lawns, pristine houses that are very well taken care of, right? And the reason why that happens in those neighborhoods is because a lot of those neighborhoods have a homeowners association. The homeowners association is there to make sure that everybody that lives in that community maintains a certain standard, right? That community probably also has community watch. That community probably has people in that community watch that contribute to the police fund every year, that make sure that the police do what they're supposed to do. So guess what? If you go into that neighborhood and you commit a crime, police gonna be there right away.
Now, I want y'all to pay attention to what he just said about the police and people that donate to the police unions and funds and all of that. 2 points. First of all, the equivalent of the homeowners association that you're talking about as far as society would be the government and law enforcement. And they're supposed to enforce the law and protect everybody regardless. Skin color, nationality, etc., etc. The other thing, where he's going, talking about the people that contribute to the police and all of that, every one of us contributes to police too. You know what that's called? Taxes. We pay their salaries. Every one of us contributes to their salaries. They are supposed to work for us. It's called taxes. So just because someone comes out of pocket with extra doesn't mean that we don't. I'm going to leave it alone and let them continue, family.
Right? Why? Because they know, number one, this is a nice community, and these people actually contribute to the police. They're not enemies of the police. The police are going to come there and they're going to do X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not even talking about the racial side of it yet, right?
But you can't take the racial side out. When dealing with foundational Black American freedmen, any Black person in America, the minute that you try to take the racial side out, you're not really looking at the problem from a realistic angle. Why do we have gangs in police departments like the executioners out in LA? That's just one of many. We could be here all night naming that. According to the FBI crime statistics, the greater majority of law enforcement and military has been infiltrated by white supremacists. But I guess that they don't know what they're talking about though, huh? Angryman, you more intelligent than this and you know that. Let's let it continue.
When they come there, they're coming there expecting to lock up a criminal who's doing some crime and going about their business, and they're expecting the people to be grateful for them doing that, right? Now, on the flip side of that, you look at a Black neighborhood where there's trash everywhere, where Negroes is doing shit they ain't got no business. Even if it is Black people in that neighborhood that live there that don't involve themselves in crime, and they go to work every day. The problem is when you call the police is like, oh, here we go with this neighborhood again. The reason why it takes the police so long to get out there is because they don't want to come out there. They don't want to come out there. And the reason why they don't want to come out there is because they feel like they're putting their lives in danger.
Stop right there. I just stated a fact that we pay taxes, so that means they are our employees. Angryman, you just said they don't want to come out there because they feel like their lives in danger. I want y'all to do a bit of homework. Because this happened under Barack Obama. Look up the 1033 program. I'm going to say it again. Look up the 1033 program. The modern day police that you see with all this military hardware and gear, that's thanks to Barack Obama and the Blue Alert laws and the 1033 program. Today, if you are a police officer with access to all that equipment and your ass is running around out here scared for your life, you in the wrong profession. You a big ass pussy, and I'm going to say it. For any police officer, you afraid for your life. They always use that goofy excuse, I fear for my life, when you shoot a black person that's unarmed in the back. How many times we seen that? Angryman, you really going to sit up here and say that you think that the police are afraid for their life? First of all, let's look at why that doesn't make sense. But see, I already know what a lot of people that see this going to say. Nah, we're going to make it make sense over here like we always do. You have superior firepower. You got a mass communication system. You've got armored vehicles, and you got a SWAT team to call in when the regular police can't handle it. How you gonna feel for your life with all of those advantages against, most of the time, unarmed people? Even if the people are armed. Again, I just stated that if it's too heavy, call in the SWAT team. We know they love to do that when they see people protesting with signs. Oh boy, they bring out all the military hardware. Never see that in the white community though with the mass shooters. Go back to Uvalde, Texas, Angryman. You remember them bunch of pussies sitting out there? Now, they had an excuse to be afraid for their lives then, but it took one U.S. Marshal to go in there by itself and put down that threat to those children. Race soldiers are some of the biggest cowards on the planet. How you gonna be afraid to go somewhere when you got all the advantages on your side? Communications, radios everywhere, helicopters, superior body armor, military grade firepower and hardware, military grade vehicles. How you afraid when you got all of that? You can't seriously believe that. You just can't. But I'm gonna let them continue to tell y'all though. Let's let it continue.
Because when they come out there, are they gonna be welcome to that neighborhood? No, the fuck they're not. Depending on how bad the neighborhood is, they might throw shit at them. You feel what I'm saying? So not only do they got to deal with the perpetrator that committed the crime that somebody called the police for, but they got to deal with the rest of the people in the community that's not going to welcome them there, right? Now, I'll take it a step further. That community doesn't have a homeowners association. So they're not maintaining a standard. You pretty much can do what you want to do in that community. You can have old broken down cars in front of your yard. You can have whole cookouts with a bunch of niggas out there cursing and yelling and playing loud music and throwing their beer bottles on the ground and all types of shit, right? So you're living in squalor. And the people that live in that neighborhood that don't do all of that, they don't say shit. They just mind their business, when what they should be doing is they should be running them ignorant ass niggas out of their community. That's what they should be doing. It should get to the point where black people that act ignorant and ghetto don't got nowhere to live until they get enough damn sense to act like they got some sense. They shouldn't be able to live in a neighborhood and just do whatever they want to do. Now, if one of those black people goes to a white neighborhood that has a homeowners association that maintains a standard, that makes sure nothing gets tore up in there, and you drinking a beer bottle and you throw the beer bottle on the ground, guess what? They are gonna lock your ass up for doing that shit. And you know what you can't say? Well, I seen a bunch of trash on the ground. I figured I could do it. You can't say that shit. They're maintaining a standard. So if they're maintaining a standard, your ass don't got the right to come in there and fuck up that standard. Now, if we want to get on the racial side of it and say, oh, well, the reason why the cops do what they do to black neighborhoods is because of racism. Oh, the reason why they, look, let me tell you something. Racism didn't make you walk outside and throw trash on your yard. Racism didn't make you throw beer bottles in the street. Racism didn't make you leave a broken down fucking car sitting in your yard. What made you do that is a lack of standards, period. And if you don't want to be, let's say we're not even dealing with racism right now. Let's just say we're dealing with the average everyday person.
But why you keep trying to take racism out the equation when it clearly is a factor? See, in order to properly analyze something, you got to look. Everything in America operates off race. And see, this is where those of us in new black media spaces disagree with them, because common sense, we see it. Remember Jonathan Price? Y'all remember that? The guy, the black guy, another Sambo, walked up there to shake the police hand, and what happened to him? What happened? When the last time you ever seen him do a white person like that? See, taking race out the equation, it gives you can't give an accurate analysis of it, Angryman. You can't. And see, all those things that you listed out, even if there are communities where that happens at, if those are taxpayers, they are still obligated to go out there and so-called protect and serve. They are. They are. Further beyond that, we have something, 3-letter word, called the law. The law is not subjective to somebody's feelings or opinions. It's not supposed to be. Therein lies the problem when it comes to racially enforcing it or not enforcing it. See, this is light work for me. Let's let him continue.
Isn't a racist. How do you expect them not to treat you like trash if you behave like trash? That's real shit. Nobody's gonna have that fucking conversation with black people, because black people keep wanting to use racism as the excuse for their own sorry, debaucherous behavior. And it's old. It's old. That excuse has been used so much. This is why you have what you have now in the black community. Dysfunction, lack of standards, communities that you can't even walk down the damn street in without having to worry about getting shot. I seen somebody somebody posted a video of some dude walking down the street in Chicago, broad daylight. A car pulled up, said something to him, and started dumping. Started shooting at him. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous by any fucking standard. You can say whatever you want to say, but look, if you keep trying to lean on racism as the excuse for why your communities are the way it is, for why the people in your communities act the way they act, and look, let's be real, black folk. Let's be real. Let's be real. Here's my question. If you're a well-to-do black person, in other words, you have a nice home, you have a wife, you have children, you work every day, your wife works every day, your children go to school, you're raising decent, law-abiding black people, right? How is it racism when you go to a bad neighborhood and you think the same shit that a white person thinks? You ever call?
The average black person does not think like that, though. See, this is why I'm pointing it out. The mindset of a black person that's afraid to be anywhere around their own people and then go run their ass, which is technically behind enemy lines, into a white neighborhood. Where do you think all the white supremacists live? See, nobody should stay in a bad neighborhood. Nobody should. Nobody's arguing that. But this mindset that some people have, and I'm not saying him in particular with this, but the mindset that some people have that, oh, you can't live nowhere around black people. Okay, run your ass on up there behind enemy lines, behind the white people, and see what happened to you. Christian Obumseli, anybody? Huh? How many times have we seen that? What sense would, look, think about it. Let's go from a warfare standpoint. What sense would it make for you to be in an opposing military force and then you walk off away from the rest of your unit where you got your backup defense and everything else and go behind enemy lines and just walk around like ain't no problems? You see why cooning, that mindset is dangerous? Every year we see it. Black men and black women that think, oh, yeah, I'm so much better than the rest of my people. And you go jump over there with them folks and they show you what they really think of them. Because, see, right here in Georgia, look at what happened to the sister Tamala Horsford. Had that sleepover there with all them white people. She ended up dead. Not one white person was prosecuted. We've seen that situation several times. The brother up in Philadelphia, went on a damn hunting trip with a bunch of them damn rednecks up there. He come back dead, and the rest of them, hey, no problem, no charges. That mindset that you can't live nowhere around black people, the average black person don't think like that. Not from our lineage, but again, if you're not from our lineage, this is the mindset that you would tend to display. Of course, you make intelligent decisions about where you live and where you no longer should remain if it's not safe. But see, that mindset that a lot of them have, where they try to act like they just can't be around other black people, okay? Where your backup gonna come from if not your own people? That's my question. Let's let it continue.
Caught yourself doing that? You ever caught yourself in a bad neighborhood or driving through a bad neighborhood and you're thinking some shit that a quote unquote racist white person would think? You know what that means? That means whatever thought that wasn't racist. That's what that means. Because how would it be racist if you, a black person, is thinking that? How is it racist if you, a black person, is thinking that? But like I said before, black people will use racism as the excuse for the bigotry of low expectations.
First of all, racism is a reality. It's not an excuse in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
You got to stop using racism as the excuse for why you don't take care of your own neighborhood. You got to stop using racism as the excuse for why the niggas in your neighborhood are gangbanging and shooting each other and selling drugs. You got to stop using racism as the excuse for what you yourself should be accountable for. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. Before you can even attempt to tackle racism, you got to clean up in front of your own front door. You got to get your house in order before you can even think about trying to deal with racism. That's just real shit. That's just real shit. That's just real shit. The most hilarious shit in the world to me is when a Negro is committing a crime and the police come and arrest him and the first thing he screams out of his mouth is racism. No, that's not racism. What's racism is during the Jim Crow era when black people had intact family units, were working class people, and they're walking down the street minding their business, and a truck full of racists pull up and want to jump out and fight them and beat them up. That's racism. That's
when did that stop? Tennessee, Robert Byrd. Anybody? Remember that? Recently, Jordan Neely, another lynching. See, a lot of people over there in that space, they have this idea that racism was back then and we don't experience none of that today. All you have to do is pay attention to what's going on, and you clearly see that that is not the case. I want y'all to hear what he's going to say, though, because, see, it's important to get this type of mindset and understand it. And again, I want everybody to have a platform to voice their opinion. We need to know where everybody stands. We have people like this among us or adjacent to us, whichever you want to go with regard to Angryman, whichever one, that think like this. Primarily, if they're adjacent to us, they love everything about our culture, but they really don't like our people like that. Y'all to finish listening to what he got to say.
Racism. The police arresting you for committing a crime is not racism. All right? Now, there's a caveat to it. There's a caveat to it. You can have a cop that is racist arrest you for a crime, and while he's arresting you for that crime, he goes too far because of racism, right?
We've seen that more often than not. And Angryman, here's something for you. Let's use some basic math. We are not as large a percentage of the American population as the dominant society. Yet we're mass incarcerated. The 1994 crime bill, Jim Crow, Joe Biden, anybody? You look at states like Vermont, where the percentage of black people is in the single digits, Oregon or whatever. Go look at who's incarcerated more than white people in those states and tell me how that don't have nothing to do with race. See, your opinion, you entitled to it. But math debunks a lot of this stuff that you're saying. Let's let him continue.
He goes too far because of racism. Like he beats you up or slams you on the ground or does some extra shit, right? But guess what? You got to understand how psychology works. You feel me? What they're doing is they're using the fact that you committed a crime as the excuse to do some extra racist shit to you. And then what they're going to turn around and say is, well, he's a criminal. So what they're doing is they're justifying the treatment of you, which can be racist at times because of criminal activity. And what I'm trying to tell you is that when you are not a criminal and you don't commit crimes, then when they do some shit, now you got a solid foundation to raise some hell about racism. But as long as you have communities that are crime-ridden, as long as you have communities of gangbangers, as long as you have communities of drug dealers, they're always going to have an excuse to come in there and bust you up.
Then, by that same logic, Angryman, I ask you this question. With this meth epidemic that's going on in the dominant society, why don't they do that to their own people? But they go out their way to classify that as a health issue. You don't see them storming white neighborhoods. By the way, if you know anything about meth, that could blow up an entire block if those labs and those chemicals get mixed together the wrong way. You got all types of child molestation, human trafficking. Everything you want to name goes on in these different white suburbs and these communities. But you don't apply that logic to them, though, do you? Do you, Angryman? When you apply common sense to some of this stuff, it's easy to make it fall apart. But hey, let's let them continue.
They always gonna have an excuse to come in there and rough you up and do all types of stuff to you. They lock you up in a prison. Now they got an excuse to treat you like a slave. Now, is it right? It's not right. It's not right. It's not right. But to constantly scream racism when you're doing something you ain't got no business is a slap in the face of the black folks during the Jim Crow era that wasn't doing nothing wrong, and they got beat up and had all types of messed up stuff happen to them. Because I'm gonna keep it real. The stuff that you Negroes do today, the black folk from the 40s and the 50s, they would have never did that type of shit. They would have never did that type of shit. And I'm talking about the majority of black people back then. You know why? Because they did not want to give these people no excuse to put hands on them. They was already putting hands on them when they didn't have a fucking excuse. See,
and they're still doing it today, Angryman. They're still doing it today. What do you think Ahmaud Arbery did besides jog through a neighborhood, man? You see, again, this is not a dumb man. Whether you like him or not is beside the point. This is an intelligent man. This is what makes it even more so egregious. Are you not paying attention to? In other words, I would love to know his thoughts on this, and maybe he's done content on it. Do you think that George Zimmerman had the right to follow and murder Trayvon Martin? What about little Aiyana Jones? Talk to me about that. Because see, this logic that I'm hearing coming from you, you making excuses for why these people harm us. That's not somebody, that's something for somebody from our lineage that's on code does. That's just not. We don't talk like that. When you can clearly see examples in the real world of situation after situation of law-abiding black citizens We can't count how many have been shot in the back, unarmed. But yet you make this type of statement. See, you either got to completely ignore it, or you know it exists and you still make these statements. Don't tell me that's not a coon, but hey, let's let him continue.
Nowadays, it's reversed. Nowadays, you think they can't put hands on you because you can use the race card. And because of that, you Negroes are doing shit that you wouldn't have normally did back in the day. That's the jacked up part. See, nowadays, you have a level of entitlement. You have a level of entitlement. And the reason why is because black people have been utilizing white guilt to get away with a bunch of shit that's shameful.
Entitlement? What entitlement do we have as foundational black American freedmen? Somebody fill me in on this, because I missed this. So I would love, look, we're going to let him elaborate on that. Maybe he'll get to it. Entitlement? Okay, let's go with it for a second. Let's use some logical thought. If we have all this entitlement, then why is it that when we do something to each other, or if we do something to somebody outside our group, particularly the dominant society, why is it we can't do that with impunity if we have all this entitlement? Because entitlement is supposed to work in your favor, last time I checked, right? Just use some common sense. Entitlement is supposed to work in your favor if you truly have it. Because, see, we can't do anything to the dominant society with impunity. They can do same things to us with impunity, though. There's no equivalent at all. At all. Anybody that would try to make that claim like we got some type of equivalent entitlement, especially towards the dominant society, which he didn't say those words. But if you're trying to make that claim like we got some type of entitlement, then hell, why it ain't working out for our people then? I can't see it. If we're an entitled people, we got such privilege and power. Daniel Penny, that killed Jordan Neely, one, he would have never tried to do that, but it wouldn't have took that long for them to go and arrest him. If we got all this entitlement. And then you bring up white guilt. White people don't have no guilt towards us that they bow down to our will. Because if that was the case, Angryman, I'm gonna ask you a logical question, going by your assessment and your logic. If they're so guilty, then why don't they go ahead and pay reparations? If this guilt is so strong and we so entitled and so powerful, why they ain't cut that check for our reparations that they owe us legally for what our ancestors went through that affected our families down through the lineages? Yes, we are due reparations, because see, I already know a lot of them, you ain't entitled to no reparations, you were never a slave. But those of our ancestors that were enslaved, that affected all of our families. You damn right we entitled to compensation. I just want to go ahead and get that out the way. He didn't say it, but I'm just putting it out here. Angryman, if this logic of yours, man, you know this ain't it, man. Let's let him continue.
To get away with a bunch of shit that you know you wouldn't have did if you'd have been around in the 50s. And I'm going to tell you something right now. All of you Negroes that's on that pro-black tip that always want to be like, well, they did this and they did that and they did this. My question is this. Why do you have so much smoke for the bad behavior of other groups of people, but you ignore the bad behavior of your own people?
Where you looking at that you see us not calling out the bad behavior of our own people? In new black media spaces, we stay calling out that behavior. I went in on everything that we seen here, whether it's Kiki Palmer, Suki Hunter, okay? You name it over here. If our people do something wrong, we cover that. The reason why we cover more of what the dominant society does is, pay close attention to everybody that's listening, they have more power to harm us with impunity. That's why we cover those issues more. Our people do something to each other, we get punished. They do something to us, got to be out in the street protesting, take an act to Congress. That's the reason why we focus more on that. That's the greater threat. It is. Yes, we need to clean up things in our own community. But that doesn't mean we ignore the greater extenuating threat of racism and white supremacy. There's not one person in black society that has the power to inflict the type of harm that white supremacist society has to inflict on us. They don't have that kind of power. The few little Negroes that they let in and out of jail, like you was talking about, the people that's always committing these crimes, they do that for a reason. Because they know that destabilizes our communities. Ask yourself this. Let's go here. I want you to think about this, Angryman, should you happen to see this, because I know a lot of people may send it to you. That's completely fine. Why don't we see the Pookies and the Ray Rays, like everybody like to call them, okay? Why don't we see them getting gunned down 60, 70 times, okay? You ever anybody ever ask yourself that question? Why don't the Pookies and Ray Rays get shot in the back 60 times, okay, versus the average unarmed black person that's not a criminal? You ever ask yourself that question, Angryman? I'm gonna let him get back to it. He got a lot more to say. I can't wait to hear the rest of this.
You don't make no excuses for other groups, but you make excuses for your own group. Like prime example is the Carlisha Hood situation in Chicago, right? She's in there going back and forth with this dude. The dude tells her, don't say another word to me or I'm a drop you, right? She says something else. The dude hits her. Her son pulls out the gun and shoot him, right? Now, guess what? Everybody can sit there and agree he shouldn't have hit her. He shouldn't have did this. He shouldn't have did that. He deserved it. He deserved what he went into a chicken spot and came out with wings. Niggas got all them jokes, right?
Yeah, we do, because that piece of shit got what he deserved. Because by your logic, Angryman, since you such a law-abiding citizen, it does not matter what that sister said to him as long as she didn't have a weapon or put her hands on him. The minute that he touched her, he became a criminal. You don't like criminals, do you? The minute he swung on that sister, he became a criminal, and her son did what he was supposed to do, which was defend his mother. Like anyone, look, let me tell you something right now, dude. Let me tell you something right now. If I was in that situation and that was my mother, boy, he would have got worse than that. If that was anybody in my family, okay? But especially your mother. See, when this came out, the Carlisha Hood situation, it was a lot of them out there, they were trying to take up for the dude. That was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen as far as black men online. But I'm going to tell you why I'm thankful for it. Because, again, I said this in the earlier part of the broadcast. I want all of us, white supremacists adjacent, people in our community, let everybody know where you stand. We need to see that. We need to know which side everybody's on. That was very telling. See, there's a lot of recent history that has taught us some very valuable lessons over here in Black America. It has. So I'm thankful for it. I want them to continue to let us know where we stand, because, see, when everything goes down, you know who not to trust. So I appreciate it. Let's let them continue, though.
Willie D got the joke, right? But guess what? If that same woman, right, would have been in there, if that brother had been in there talking to a police officer, and the police officer said to him, you need to calm down. And that brother would have said, yo, I swear to God, you say one more word to me, say one more word, and I'm going to drop you, right? And if that dude would have swung on that police officer, start beating up that police officer, and his partner was at that doorway and shot that dude, you niggas wouldn't be talking about that dude like that. You would be talking about the police. You would be saying that the police didn't have no right to shoot him. He was.
So are you saying that that boy didn't have a right to defend his mother? Because, see, I remember when that went down, a lot of people making the asinine argument, he could have went up there and fought him. A 14-year-old boy gonna fight a big overgrown ass man. No, he did what he was supposed to do in that situation. You damn right. You trying to say he wasn't justified? Because see, I think he did cover it, and I'm not gonna put words in his mouth because I didn't catch his coverage of it. But it seems like he's trying to say that the boy shouldn't have shot him. Really? I ask you a question. What would you have done if you were 14 and that was your mother, Angryman? If that's what you're saying. If that's what you're saying. You telling me you wouldn't have did the same thing? If that was your wife or one of your daughters, you wouldn't have did the same thing. Come on now. I'm going to take it a step further. Never mind you being 14 or anybody that objects to that. Right now, as a grown man, if somebody was to put their hands on your mother or your wife or daughter, even though you can throw hands, you trying to tell me you wouldn't do what you need to do in that situation? Come on now, because I'm going to tell you right now, don't touch what belongs to me. Don't touch what belongs to me. That for the what's his name there? Because see, that's one thing about what Jeremy Brown, whatever the heck his name was, Mr. Knockout King. Yeah, he got knocked out of here too, right where he belongs. You don't play with people's loved ones like that. That was exactly what was supposed to happen. The only injustice in the situation was that Carlisha Hood was arrested and charged in the first damn place. That was clear self-defense. But I'm gonna let him get back to it. He got more to say.
Unarmed. Oh, he swung on the police. Well, the police are trained for this. He should have been able to fight him. If he couldn't scrap with him, he shouldn't have let his partner shoot him. You know why? Because by and large, the black community, right? Niggas, y'all are fucking hypocrites. Y'all are hypocrites. You pick and choose what you think righteousness is. You pick and choose what you think justice is. That's not the way justice works. And it's not surprising because you learned it from them. Because that's what they used to do during the Jim Crow era. They picked and choose what justice was, and everything they did and how they operated was based off of their bias for their own group.
You said they did operate like that. Angryman, they still do. Shouldn't have said that because, see, I got something for you. Emmett Till. That happened during the Jim Crow era. Carolyn Dunham Bryant, there was a warrant for her arrest. They allowed that woman to live out her natural life without prosecuting her old, raggedy, decrepit ass. I have always said it, that when it comes to any egregious crimes against our people, especially like that, we need to adopt the Nuremberg trial standard. You go and do something to the Jewish community. Let them find out you was a part of the Holocaust. They don't give a damn if you 95 on your deathbed. Well, you're going to do the rest of your days in this cell. Come on, let's go. I'll be damned if you say we don't love our people. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I'm going to let him continue.
This is what you niggas do today. This is why it's hilarious to me whenever you start trying to call out white folk for their hypocrisy when you engage in the same hypocrisy. You do the same shit. So my question is, how you gonna be mad at them and condemn them for the shit you do? How? How? Whenever a black person gets into it with the police, you always assume the black person is innocent. You know what that's called? Bias.
And if we do take that opinion, we have evidence in the real world based off prior incidents that give us a reason to be biased. I dare you to say that we don't. History is right here in front of our faces. We can pull up case after case after case after case. Yes, we are biased when it comes to these race soldiers dealing with our people. First of all, let me tell you something. I've said this before, and my brother George Macon have said this. What gives them the right to govern over us with all that they've done to us? They're the most morally bankrupt people on the planet. Who says that they're mentally fit or morally fit enough to police us? The best case scenario would be that if we got reparations, we should have what the Native Americans have. They police themselves on their reservations. Those people are not in any moral or mental standing to judge over us. Damn it, I said it. Look at what they do to their own people. There's the kind of argument I would present to you, but hey, I'm going to let them get back to it.
In fact, it's called racial bias. That's what it's called. And it ain't no different than when one of their police officers shoot one of y'all and they automatically assume that the cop was just doing his job. You're hypocrites. You're hypocrites. Like, for instance, the story that just happened with Carly Russell, right? If that would have been a white chick with the same story, the same inconsistencies, absolutely none of these Negroes would have believed it. None of them.
And the reason why us Negroes would not have believed it is because Becky has a track record of making up lies, and particularly lies that have taken the lives of black people. Carolyn Dunham Bryant, George Stinney Jr., okay? Go back, all the cases back through the 90s where a white woman stayed popping up saying a black man did something to their children and kidnapped them, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, we would be justified. You would be a fool not to observe past behavior and be biased off of things in the present based off of that. Come on now. This is common sense. And see, let me deal with something else too, because, you know, a lot of those in that space, the pro-blacks, show me one group that's not pro their own people. What sense does it make for you not to be pro your own race? Because see, at the end of the day, if you put an Asian person, Hispanic person, East Indian, Arab, white person somewhere, and there's some danger, they're going to flock to where their people are. The majority. That's what the majority going to do. If you put them in a real life situation, hell, let's take it out of a dangerous situation. Look at what happens out here in the workforce. Every other group that has a business or whatever, they prefer to hire their own people. Now, you shouldn't be doing that because it's illegal, but they do it. How many Negroes you seen working in a Chinese restaurant, huh? Come on now. See, when you stop and apply common sense outside of coon logic, none of this stuff makes any sense at all. Not if you value your life, because you just kept going on about how we don't value our lives. A person or people that values their own lives are pro their own people. Doesn't mean you excuse the bad behavior within the group. You deal with that in-house like they do also. But for you to, I ain't no pro-black, I ain't it. Okay, no problem. Good, that's your prerogative. Let everybody know where you stand. The only thing that I ask to anybody that takes that stance, I ain't one of them pro-blacks, make sure that when them people come for you, remember, you're not our people. You said you weren't pro-black, so your situation should not be our problem. That's the only thing I ask. Just, hey, make sure you stay over there. Stand in your convictions when them folks come for you. Because all you got to do is keep living long enough. You're going to be in a situation. And see, me, I'm going to tell you, hey, listen, you're not pro-black. You don't need my help. Let them continue.
In fact, what they would have done is they'd have been like, Negroes would have been like, if her name would have been Becky Cartwright, they would have been like, so let me get this straight. She got snatched on the side of the road and then showed up at home 48 hours later? That sounds like some bullshit to me. And the fact that they had all of these people looking for her, it's typical. It's typical. Whenever Becky goes missing, everybody's looking for her. I know how you niggas operate. That's why I sit back and I listen to the shit y'all say and I laugh inside because it's fucking amusing.
Look at the hatred in this man's eyes when he said, "Hey, you niggas." Remember what I taught y'all about people that refer to us in the third person, that claim they're our people, no matter what lineage they're from? You niggas. You didn't even single out the category that you're talking to because you labeling the entirety of black society as what you just said. Family, and I'm going to say this to you directly, Angryman. When people accuse you of not being black, this is what they're talking about. Nobody's saying you have to agree 100% with everybody's position, but you don't talk towards our people with any type of empathy. You love hip hop. You love dressing hip hop, listen to all the music and stuff, but listen to how you talk about our people. Find me the white equivalent of him that talk that way towards white society, whether they right or wrong or indifferent. Where's the white angry man that talk to white people like that, huh? I'm going there with it. Where's the Asian version of you? East Indian, Arab, Hispanic version. Where they at? You can't find me nobody except for somebody in our community, or claims to be, that will sit up here and talk like that. See, there's one way to critique your people and be stern about those things, because you know me over here on my channel. I use myself. I'm very stern when I critique our people for doing something wrong. I am. Because you chastise those you love. There's a difference between that and lack of empathy with that and a hatred. See, when I chastise my people, you can go down my content. I state what the issue is, why it's wrong, and what's a solution to prevent it in the future. All I hear from him when he criticizes our people is a bunch of hatred. You have to ask the question why that is. Even Jesse Lee Peterson don't talk towards our people like that, and you know that's bad. Jesse do some cooning, but you don't hear that hatred towards us coming out of him. I'll give him that much. You niggas this and that. Really? But yet you claim you black though, huh? The average black person from my lineage don't talk like that, man. Let's let them continue.
It's amusing. Y'all don't operate off of logic. You operate off of your own personal biases. Shout out to Dara, said, thanks for spitting all this knowledge. This is fire. Appreciate you. Shout out to Lundy, said, I'm 35 and I always say I'm rating on a MFIDC. Shout out to Knight Rider, said, dude full of shit. He hear you and nobody calling him. Said he hear you, ain't nobody calling him. Damn. Shout out to Beastly Nerd, said, tell him take over because the break's over, no doubt. Shout out to Money Penny, he said cigar fun. Let's be real. Let's be real. All you got to do in order to determine what a black person's opinion is going to be about a situation is what color are the people. How's that any different than racist? How's that any different than somebody that's racist? All you gotta do to know the opinion of a black person about any topic, all you gotta do is look at the race of the people in the situation. In other words, white guy sitting in his car because somebody called the police on him. He gets out wielding a knife. Cops shoot him. Well, he had it coming. He had it coming. He had a knife. He wasn't listening to the police officers. He jumped out of the car with the knife. What do you expect him to do? Same scenario. Black guy gets out the car with a knife. They didn't have to shoot him. All he had was a knife. They're trained.
See, that type of crap right there, black people don't defend injustice in amongst our people. Those of us with common sense don't do that. See, this caricature vision that he has of black society, you can tell where he spent most of his time, not only just online, but growing up. You can tell. We are for justice, no matter who it is. That's all we've ever been asking for. You can't say that all of us are inherently evil or have a hatred of white people, because, come on, family, this is going to be easy right here. Black people go out of our way to help people outside. Look, come on, we got to call it what it is. The average black person, they go out their way to help other groups. We've done it historically to our detriment. To be honest with you, if we talking historically, that's been to our detriment. We need to have more love and concern for ourselves, and then we would help get ourselves out of this situation. But see, that what he just said, if a brother go out there and do something ignorant or silly, we don't say, oh, they shouldn't have did that. No, what we be talking about is the same scenario like you just gave. They'll usually tase the white guy, and we've seen footage of white people open shooting at the police. The Bundy situation, remember that? Them years ago? How many of them did they kill? We've seen footage of white people running at them with knives, even stabbing police. They'll tase them and go out their way not to kill that person. Unarmed black person, shoot them in the back 60 times. That's what we be talking about, Angryman, and you should know that too. Let's let him continue, though. I want y'all to pay attention to this, because, see, I told you, we had to go in and dive deep into this. I'm being fair on it. I agree with him on the things that he got right early in the broadcast, but I got to critique this kind of stuff right here, because, see, you can't call this nothing but cooning right here. Let's let him continue.
For this. And you know why you were able to get away with that? Because for I don't know how long, you Negroes have been running around here saying it's impossible for a black person to be racist.
And it is, because racism is prejudice plus power to oppress or deprive somebody of something based on the color of their skin. Now, Angryman, I've heard you make that statement several times. I'm asking you this. Where do black people as a collective, even our most wealthy, have the ability to deprive white people or any other group in this country of resources and oppress them? Where do we have the right to pull out what Kyle Rittenhouse did in the courtroom? You can't buy that kind of defense. Racism is not name calling, because, see, most people that say that ignorance, you whittle racism down to name calling and feelings. Racism is systematic in all 9 areas of people activity. You should know who Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. is. If you don't, you need to pick up his work. And I know you should have that book over there. You should. You have a very extensive book collection. I'm very well versed on you being a well-read man, Angryman. How do you think that black people have the power to be racist? If that was the case, let's go with your logic there, because you're trying to argue that we can. Then why aren't we doing as at least equally as good as the dominant society? If we got all these privileges and we got so much power and racism, why don't we have the same privileges and abilities that they have? Make that make sense. There cannot be 2 supremes, Angryman. There cannot. You can't have white supremacy and black supremacy. That black supremacy does not exist. Show me a global comparative system anywhere on the planet that can do what the dominant society does around the world. Where is it, Angryman? Just let him continue.
That's why. That's why. That's why. And I'm going to tell you something right now. There's nobody that's better at that type of behavior than black women. Because when this chick told this cockamamie story, damn near all of them believed it. Some of them are still pushing it.
And we saw just as many sisters coming out condemning her for that when we found out that she was lying. Tell that part of it too, Angryman, or maybe you didn't see that. Maybe he didn't. But I know I did. When it turned out that she was lying, Most of the sisters in these spaces called that shit out and still are calling it out too. Maybe he didn't see it though. I don't know. Let's let him continue.
Mama still saying she didn't lie. Some of them under all of the damn evidence that points to the fact that she's lying. Now they running around here saying she didn't lie. I seen somebody say that the traffic video was clipped. Where? We watched it. Oh, well, there's a part of it missing. Oh, so that mystery part that's missing allegedly is the part where the man with the orange hair came out of the woods and grabbed her. And you know what? Check this out. There was a time where you would have a black person that would get snatched up by some racists, right? And there might be one guy in that group that say, hey, man, this is wrong. And guess what? That whole group would turn on him. Whose side are you on? And they'll use the numbers that they have to browbeat him into submission. Right? Know who else does that? The motherfucking B-Dub. The motherfucking B-Dub does the same shit.
Now, historically, when you look back at the civil rights era, you had a handful of white folks that stood with black people. That's true history. I have it right here on this channel. However, the greater majority do not do that, Angryman. So there's nothing to give them credit for. There has only been one John Brown in history. I have not seen a white person to this day go to that extent to operate in the best interest of black people in America. You haven't either. You can't show me that. You can't. I want y'all to listen to this, though, because, see, he's going to make a very interesting statement here in just a second.
If you Negroes have the nerve to question any one of them about anything, they will swarm up and try to use racism or ain't your mama black? Ain't your sisters black? Like all types of bullshit for you to co-sign their bias.
And what do we do over here in New Black Media Spaces when we see people doing that? We stand on our square and call it out. We do. I don't even have to name the rest of the channels that do it because y'all, if you over here, you know who they are. Okay? So this insinuation that we just go along with whatever they say just because they're black women, nah, you know this is the last channel you're going to see that on. What do I always tell y'all when I'm critical of the sisters or the brothers? I tell you, you're going to get the truth whether you like it or not. And if you don't like that, this channel ain't for you. How many times have I not said that? How many times have you heard that from other brothers and sisters in these spaces? See, a lot of the problem is when you're not connected to black grassroots society, you really don't know what's going on. Okay? You really don't. Because we make our voices loud with what we oppose over here in these spaces. We do. This mindset, though, with that gender war type crap, black men versus black women, see, those of us who have common sense and are paying attention to what's going on around us in real time today, we know we don't have time for that. Do we have issues in our community on both ends of the spectrum? Yes, we do. We do. But we know that we're not going to put those issues above dealing with the main and primary threat of racism and white supremacy. Will we be better codified against it if we work most of those issues out? You damn right we would. And we continue to work towards that. But to try to pull the line out their mouth, y'all know what the line is. Ain't no racism. Oh, okay. You'll be the next one in a situation like Christian Obumsili talking about where everybody at. Y'all know the names they'll call, boy, because they sure come running to us when they get hemmed up, don't they? Even the ones in the tether class. Hey, Carter. Hello, FBA. Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, let's let them continue, though.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. And what I'm trying to figure out is how are black people going to be able to maintain a standard, or better yet, how are black people going to be able to call out the biased behavior of other groups when you're engaged in your own biased behavior? Because what it becomes, and if I was other groups, this is what I would say. Oh, I get it. You don't have a problem with us being biased. You're just mad you're not in the position to enforce your bias better than we do.
Or why wouldn't you take this position, angry man? Wouldn't an upright, moral person take this position? How about produce justice across the board for everybody instead of enforcing one thing over here or there with a racial bias? How about that? How about equal justice? Too much like right, though, huh?
I'm going to say that again. If I belong to other racial groups and I looked at and examined the way black people operate, I would say, oh, your problem isn't with our bias. Your problem is your lack of power so that you can enforce your bias better than we enforce our bias.
Wait just a minute, angry man, because now, just a few minutes ago, you implied that black people could be racist, right? I've heard you say it many times. Racism is prejudice plus power. So now we had all that power, we would be able to do what you just stated, wouldn't we? Which one is it? Do we have power or don't we? You said we had entitlement and all this privilege. They had the white guilt. So those are forms of power. Either we got power or we don't. Which one is it? Because see, those of us with sense, we know the answer. We do not have the power that we need in our community to stop these damn bastards from harming us. We don't. You can name situation after situation that proves that. I'm gonna let them continue.
Somebody tell me I'm wrong. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. See, we got a couple sponsors. Let's see. We got MHNU, who said, Angry Man the Great. Thank you for this fire. Appreciate you, fam.
$50 boss up. Stack up and match up.
Shout out to MK for being a sponsor of the show. MK said, you spot on, bro. I hear Omar still thinks white folk took Carly. Ha ha, keep preaching, AM. Yeah, because he's a moron. That's why.
$50 boss up. Stack up and match up.
Shout out to MK on the PayPal side of the game. Shout out to Andrew on the PayPal side of the game. He said, let me get that link for you. Unc plays no games in the mornings. No, sir. We ain't playing no games over here. Shout out to Lawrence. He said, I just shared this on my Facebook page. No doubt. Appreciate you. Shout out to Wayne. He said, how will the Carly case affect us? Well, it ain't going to affect me. It ain't going to affect me. It's affecting these B-dubs because they've been taking L's left and right. And they're going to take some more L's. Winter is here. Shout out to D. He said, keep spitting facts, bro. Hypocrisy always evident. Yep. Shout out to Tony07. Appreciate you. Shout out to Kyra. Said, love your channel. I appreciate it. Like, it ain't going to affect us. If anybody, it's going to affect them.
problem with that statement is it does affect us because now the next time that any black person's relative or female family member goes missing, this is going to set a precedent. And for your sake, Angryman, I hope it doesn't affect you. I hope no female family member of yours, daughters, your wife, nobody, I hope nothing happens to them where they go missing and you have to rely on these race soldiers to find them, especially after this. I hope you're right. I really do. And I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. I hope that you are right. Because see, those of us with common sense, we know it does affect the entirety of black society. Hence the outrage on our part for her sitting over there making up them damn lies. Carly Russell, that is. So I hope you're right. I really do hope you got it all figured out, just like you say you do. Just let them continue.
Because look, we've been up here saying for I don't know how long that they full of it. We've been saying for how long, for I don't know how long that they lying. It's not the brothers that have the worst behavior, it's them, right? And now you're seeing it. You're seeing it. The chickens are coming home to roost. You feel me? We done pulled back the curtain. You understand? Everybody was looking at them like they're the great and powerful Oz. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Nah, we gonna pull the curtain back and see what's really back there. It's just like the story I did. Now everybody's talking about that story, right? Which is funny because you got a lot of content creators that are talking about the story now with the girl from Dubai, right? So I had the young lady on my show do an interview and gave us a bunch of information about that chick that nobody had. Now I see people doing stories about it and they're using the information from my interview and not giving me credit for it. Y'all see that? I don't know if y'all see that or not. You got people going up on the show talking about some, yeah, there was an incident before Dubai where she was in Puerto Rico and she did this and she did that and this happened and that happened. They are literally using the information from my interview and not even giving me credit for it. Y'all see it, right? And look, any of you that's watching this right now, if you see one of these content creators using that information, say something in their comment section. Say something in that comment section. Say, yo, Angryman broke this story. Y'all need to give him credit for it. But like I said, the chickens is coming home to roost. You got her mother getting up there on the news and trying to make it seem like, oh, she got arrested. The only thing she did was raise her voice, but the man was being aggressive to her and he raised, and it's a crock of shit. Because there's no way, based on that girl's previous behavior, there's no way she went out to Dubai, had a incident with someone and didn't go all out. I guarantee you she did way more than what her mother is saying she did. I bet you. I bet you money on it. I bet you any amount of money on it.
And there you have it, family. There you have it. I took the time to cover this tonight because this isn't the first time that he's made these types of statements. He's entitled to his particular viewpoint. We're entitled to critique it. But one thing I want to say to those of you that tend to subscribe to his mindset, particularly on views about race, when it pertains to black people in America, You better go and research Richard Spencer and what he said that it means the most to him. He does not care about fairness and equality. He only cares about winning. That means he's going to defend white supremacy, good, bad, or indifferent. And what I posit to those of you with common sense under the sound of my voice here at the end of this broadcast tonight, if we're going to combat that, we better learn how to stay on code against our adversaries. Those of you that hold that mindset, I'm going to tell you this, when your time comes, remember, it's just like insurance. You can't sit here and go without insurance on a car, and then when you get in an accident, hey, I need some insurance. The insurance is loyalty to our people and stand on code. So if you can't do that, when them folks come for you, just remember, you got your convictions, stand on them. That's it. Salute to everybody that contributed to the broadcast. I hope everybody learned something from this because, again, I don't want anybody silence. I want everybody to let us know where we stand. That's what we need. Take care of yourselves out here, family Black first. Stay ready, and I will see you all in future content.